Snow plows are going by, and holy mackerel, a couple of inches of snow, it looks like, out there. But nevertheless, it'll all be gone tomorrow. I guess 46 for a high, and I'm good with that. Today, by the way, Ben, wasn't today supposed to be opening day?
I think it was.
I think today was supposed to be opening day. Correct me if I'm wrong. Which means it would have been one of those days where we're sitting with a snowstorm, kind of, watching, tailgaters and such try to brave it and throwing snowballs and all that kind of stuff. But I think today was actually supposed to be opening day, either today or yesterday, one of the two. But it was the last week of March, that I know, which is rather interesting.
Would have been a good day to have a roof at your ballpark.
Yes, it would have.
Scrubs in Chicago.
Yes, it would have. Very much so. I woke up this morning and I saw the snow and I'm like, oh my God, thank God it's not, next week. And then I went, wait a minute. I think today was supposed to be opening day. Today or like yesterday or something like that. But it was the last week of March was the opener. So glad we didn't happen to have it this week. Otherwise, we would have been just one big ball of mess. Minneapolis, the same thing. Cleveland, the same thing. Chicago, obviously. Rain all across the upper Midwest, which then is tracking towards the East Coast. So that most likely would have happened there, tomorrow? So kind of glad baseball pushed it back now by a week or two. And we don't even have the Brewers home opener now although I'm sure the Brewers are thinking to themselves, holy mackerel, with the snow on the ground, you hope to God we don't have this kind of weather next week down at Wrigley, because they don't even have the benefit of having a roof. They would just get snowed out. That's why I've always said I think the baseball season is far too long. They should always start it maybe the second week of April and end it by, the first week of September. And end it when the NFL is kicking off, you're going into your baseball finale, so to speak. It's not hunt for October. October should then be the first week of October should be your World Series, and that should be it. October should be the World Series, and get it over with over the first week, and then be done with it, and then you're on into football, and all your focus and all your attention is there anyway, because we all know the NFL reigns supreme. And therefore, you go ahead and put your focus there. And you still get through the first week of October usually pretty safe. It doesn't really get nasty until either mid through October, as far as rain and cold and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't get nasty usually midway through October into November, and then you're kind of screwed. But one of these years, you're going to end up with a Boston, Colorado World Series. And it's going to continually get snowed out, or a Cleveland, Colorado World Series. And it's going to get snowed out. They're not going to be able to play it because the weather's just going to be so crappy because they keep pushing it back and pushing it back and pushing it back. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Welcome to the program. Speaking of baseball, the good news is regarding baseball, we got Brandon Woodruff today, the pitcher. Last year's starter on opening day, and the last 2 years for that matter, for the Milwaukee Brewers. Brandon Woodruff going to be here today, so that's kind of nice. Looking forward to that conversation. And how about Bruce Arians stepping down? The news broke yesterday, and I went to bed last night. I'm like, wait a minute, what? And now I don't know if this is because there were rumors of he and Tom Brady not getting along, and whether or not he's being forced to go to the front office or whether this is just his decision. But I got to think that Brady didn't come back to have turmoil in the organization like this. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But nevertheless, it's kind of an interesting day. We'll talk to Peter Bukowski, the Locked On Packers podcast. We'll talk with him coming up, and which we already knew. This is something we've been talking about, but we knew the Packers were scouring to try to find a wide receiver. They're lighting up the phones. We knew that. And now it comes out, and people go crazy. Oh, my God, I can't believe the Packers are scouring looking for a wide receiver. Well, duh. Knew that was happening. We knew that was happening. As a matter of fact, Matt Miller The NFL draft scout, ESPN NFL draft analyst, says that conversation with a lot of high-level NFL scouts this morning said the Ohio State wideouts, they're going to go a lot earlier, a lot being all capitalized, by the way, than people think, both of them. So him saying that, oh, by the way, Chris Olave probably not going to be there at 17, 18, 19. That they're thinking this is going to happen earlier, sooner rather than later. So we shall see. But that's a guy that, as we all know, the Packers had a conversation, a lengthy conversation with, and they really liked. So we'll see if they decide that that's their guy and they want to jump up and get him, or if they're going to, put it on hold and say, well, we're going to go later in the draft or later in the round, trade backwards, get more picks. I don't know. We'll wait and see. Wait and see. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to find us? Do it. Do it. If you got a conversation and you want to throw it up against the wall, by all means. We'll see if it sticks here. Would love to hear from you. And then there's the NBA. As the NBA continues to wind down, we're going to talk a little NBA today as well. And because we got to, Seth Partnow is going to be joining us, the NBA analyst at the Athletic. And we're going to talk with him about the percentages of the Milwaukee Bucks and the remainder of the season, because they do kind of stats and stuff over there. So we're going to talk with him about the percentages of getting the number 1, the number 2 seed, the most likely as to what would happen if you do fall into one of those places, or even the 3 seed for that matter, because it's so jumbled across the top of the Eastern Conference. We'll talk to him about that. And are the Bucks, now that they're pretty much back at full strength, are they the team to beat in the East? Until the crown is knocked off, are they the team to beat? Now that everybody seems to be back and things seem to be, knock on wood, kind of firing on all cylinders. So we'll see. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Jim says, your prediction of a cold weather World Series, do you see at some point Major League Baseball following the NFL and going to one city hosting all World Series games? Only for the fact that it's a 7-game series, so no. If it was a 1-game winner take all, yes. But it's like the NBA. You're not going to take it away a week's worth of play from those fan bases, because nobody can afford to do that. Corporately, you could, people take a week off to go enjoy the Super Bowl. But no, then again, that's not true. People will take off a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and a Monday. Or people will take off a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. People don't usually go out on a Sunday and come back on the following Monday. That doesn't happen. And if unless you play 7 games straight in a week somewhere, I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think it's always going to be, and the other aspect of this is that there is a weight to having the best record, to earning home field advantage. I mean, there's some things to that MLB has implemented that I think they would want to keep. It wouldn't be a terrible idea, but I think they do it for the fans. Because can you imagine if the Brewers went to the World Series, but, oh, by the way, it was being hosted in San Diego, right? If you had to go play it at Petco. Brewers fans would freak. Finally, we're in the World Series, and we don't even get a chance to host it, especially if, in this area, we got Miller Park. We have Miller Park. So why in the world would you want to pull it away from Brewers fans? Just because Twins fans or White Sox fans or Cleveland fans or what have you, because they don't have a dome? You wouldn't want that to be taken away from you. So no, I don't think that's going to happen. I think what will happen is at that point in time, Major League Baseball will say, okay, what do we need to do? And I'll say this. I know the Players Association does not like doubleheaders. They don't like it. Owners don't like it. Players don't like it. As long as the players get paid, they don't care, but they don't like it. If you're going to shorten the season, they're not going to get rid of games. What they would do is day-night doubleheaders. That would be, a 1 o'clock start and then a 7 o'clock start. And that's the way they would do it. Day-night doubleheaders. I think if you're going to shorten the season, say by a week or by 2, you're talking, 10 games? I don't think they're going to go do 10 doubleheaders, but I could see them doing 5 throughout the season. Do 1 a month, April, May, June, July, August, before you get into the hunt for October and September. Or May, June, July, August, September, something like that. I could see them doing that. But they like to hold out that ability for off days and the possibility of doubleheaders for rainouts. So I don't think Major League Baseball is ever going to give up 162. I don't think they're going to shorten the season. And they keep trying to start it earlier and earlier so they don't have to go into November, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. They've maxed out the calendar and really gone beyond the max out ability. Now, maybe you could see them say starting, well, no, they're not going to do that either. I was going to say maybe they start the season, your first week of games is actually played at your spring training facilities or something, but they can't lose out on money like that. They're not going to lose that money. You're not going to do opening day in Arizona or in Florida. You're not going to do that. So it is what it is, I guess. Now that you think about it, now that I think about it, it's stupid, but it's all about the money. Everything is done because of the money. Everything is done because of the money. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up? Please feel free to go ahead and do so. We'd love to hear from you. 877-867-1670. You can also find us over on Twitter at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels. You can find us over on the Facebook fan page. Go to facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show. You can do the same thing over on YouTube. YouTube subscribers continue to subscribe, and that continues to grow, and it's absolutely free. We really appreciate it. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show, Michaels, Bill Michaels Show, 3 words, put them all together, and just click subscribe. It's absolutely free. And then when we go on the air, you'll get a notification right to your mobile device or what have you, as long as you have the notification on, and it'll tell you, hey, we're on the air. Here we go. Here we go. So there you go. Plenty of ways to get a hold of us. Let's do this. We're going to step away, take a quick break. We are brought to you by our friends at Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network. Got a lot more to come right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Who's at Wisconsin Harley Davidson coming up on Saturday night. And if you want to stop out, the tickets are still available. And Bikes and Brews, basically a bunch of craft brewers all getting together at Wisconsin Harley Davidson. And they are going to put on their wares. They're going to have some food there. They're going to clear out the showroom. In addition to that, you come in and listen to a little music, get a few craft beers, a little bit of food, sniff the new leather, check out some of the new bikes, but all that stuff going on at Wisconsin Harley Davidson. Go to Wisconsin Harley Davidson, wishd.com, wishd.com. Bikes and Brews coming up this Saturday night. Tickets still available should you want to chime in and meet up out there. Going to be a good time. Looking forward to it. See you out there. Saturday, I think it starts at like 5 or 6 o'clock, and it doesn't go real late, so you can still time to go out afterwards. Get a couple of tastings, and then head on out. Have yourself a good night. But if you're into the, you want to check out some of the new jackets, you want to check out some of the new bikes, some of the new gear, parts, whatever it happens to be, stereo systems, you name it, stop on out. Or if you're just a fan of craft beer, they're going to have like 10 different beer vendors in the place and all these different small craft breweries in the area. Come on out and enjoy it. Good time. Again, Bikes and Brews coming up Saturday night. Go to wishd.com, wishd.com. So, Jason says, whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth never satisfied with his income. All man's efforts are for his mouth, yet his appetite is never satisfied. And he says, hey, they're throwing out some biblical verses, basically. Biblical verses versus, I guess, an inference of the owners of Major League Baseball. It's never enough. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. This one's from Mark. Mark says, hey, unit, all the rumors about the Brewers looking for other first basemen, is this true or not? The Brewers looking for a first baseman? Right now, no. No. I mean, if somebody falls into their lap, yeah, they're looking. They're always looking. But as far as any trade rumors out there, no. I haven't heard anything about any of that. So if you're giving me something, give it to me, because I really don't know if there's a specificity to this or not. Let me know. Ben, you haven't heard anything, have you? About any kind of a deal being done with the Brewers searching for a first baseman?
I have not. It kind of feels to me like if it's necessary, it'll be done at the deadline.
Right.
When guys are a little cheaper, teams are more needy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see it happening right now, specifically right now, not right now. So, no, to answer your question. 877-867-1670. This one is from Jason. Jason says, he said, I think the Brewers have the pitching. I just don't know if they're going to have the hitting. I was watching MLB last night. They say statistically the Dodgers are the best team in the National League. They think a couple other teams might even be better than the Milwaukee Brewers because the Brewers don't have the tenacity to hit the baseball in the postseason. Their numbers have been down over the last 3 years. Thoughts? And you're right. I mean, what do you want me to say? I mean, you're going off of facts from the past. I can't deny that. However, The only way you can get past that is to get past that. Does that make sense? So get to the postseason and perform better. And if you do, then eventually you'll kind of get over that hump. But beyond that, I don't specifically know what to tell you. Because until, Christian Yelich has not necessarily performed extremely well. Orlando Arcia was the only one that hit the ball in the NLCS a couple of years back. When they took on the Dodgers, it was Orlando Arcia who hit the ball well in the postseason. Nobody else, not Braun, not Yelich, not Kane, nobody. Nobody else was hitting the baseball consistently. So to answer your question, the only way to get to the postseason and prove that statistic wrong is to do just that. You just keep whacking at the door until the door comes down. So I get what you're saying, and I understand where you're going with it. But as of right now, you're right. What do you want me to say? I think you're looking for optimism. I think you're looking for me to go, no, this is the reason. This is the reason the Brewers are going to be much better. Here's why. But you and I both know they've got good pitching. We know that. Starting pitching solid, back into the bullpen extremely solid. Rotation 3-4 deep, okay? Which is really when you get to the postseason, that's all you need. So, okay, they've got all of that. Now what do you need? Well, the key, and I say it every year, 4.2. 4.2. That's what it is. You get the 4.2 runs per game offensively per average, you will win 95-plus games. And you will win a lot of games. 4.2 runs per game. That's always been the key number. If you average less than that, you're going to be 500 or just a little better, just a little worse, depending on where your statistics are. You average a lot less than that. And now, okay, let me take that back for a second. If you have good pitching, 4.2 runs per game is going to win you a lot of games. You can be a team of sluggers, but if your bullpen is total ERA is 4.8, then you're losing a lot of games. You're not going to win a lot of games that way. But 4.2 runs per game. That's usually what it comes down to. 877-867-1670. I'm getting a lot of this morning. Ben Carlson. So this whole thing about him transferring out, yet another player transferring out of the Badger basketball program. Like we talked about yesterday, sometimes guys, they transfer. Sometimes guys want to go into the portal because they want to play more. They don't see a future. They maybe philosophically don't have an agreement. Does this bother you?
Not at all.
It doesn't bother me.
I think the outrage is kind of ridiculous because a lot of the people that are up in arms about him transferring out were the same that throughout the year criticized him to no end. Just would not give the kid a break. Had a lot of injuries, had illness, obviously didn't really live up to expectations. But it's also a Wisconsin program where you see a big year 3 jump often. So I thought if he had stayed, he would have been a big part of the team. He's transferring. It's what college sports is right now.
Right.
It is what it is. You never really know what's going on in the building.
I don't have an issue with it. I'm still waiting to find out what the team's going to be like next year. People want to somehow, some way say, this is it, this is guard, that, and look, if you fire every coach that has an issue or a player that transfers out, I think every coach this year would be fired. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're right.
Because every program has somebody transferring out. A kid gets there, and I said this yesterday, a kid gets into a system. When you're in high school, you're a god. You're a god. Then you get a scholarship. You're going to a big-time program. Great. Where are you going? Okay. I'm going to Wisconsin. I'm going to Kentucky. I'm going to Kansas. I'm going to Purdue. Wherever. Going to Michigan. Going to Michigan State. I'm going wherever. Then you get there and you're like, holy crap. Yeah, I'm not going to play. What I thought I was, I'm not. And now you look in the mirror and you're like, boy, this is not what I thought it was going to be. And now you want to go. And that's okay. The transfer portal is for that. I like the transfer portal because, one, it gives your team, your college, your institution an opportunity to pick up another player that maybe they wouldn't have gotten. And two, if you are a kid who maybe you get into a situation and you say, you know what, it's not for me. I'm homesick. This is not educationally what I want. I mean, just whatever it is that you feel the need to leave, you're no longer tethered to an organization. You're not tethered to that school anymore. Now you've got the ability to move. And I don't have a problem with that. I'm good with that. I don't know why so many people get all up in arms about that stuff. I'm good with that.
I think it's something you said a couple weeks ago where after Wisconsin lost and everyone says, oh, look, the team is going to suck next year because guard can't recruit. It's like everyone's still looking into the future. They don't understand that there are 1,000 players right now in the transfer portal.
Right.
Like that's what college sports is. The football team lost 6 or 7 guys during the year, whether it was dismissal or they just entered the portal looking for a new place. What did Paul Chryst do? He rebuilt the secondary. He brought in 4 cornerbacks. He brought in a young wide receiver. Like that's what being a coach is. Yep. So people are looking ahead. Oh, this team's going to suck because they have no bench. It's like, let Greg Gard go to the portal and we'll talk again in November.
Yep. That's it. That's it. So I don't have a problem with it. I'm in favor of it. I like the transfer portal. I like that ability for guys to be able, and girls to be able to move should they feel it necessary. It gives them a little bit of a voice, a little bit of their own control. I'm for it. No problem with it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Find us, hit us up. A reminder, 2 weeks from today, not a week from today, 2 weeks from today for the Brewers home opener. This show will be live. We'll be at Steny, 2nd and National Walker's Point, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and beyond. We're going to be down there hanging out, and you're going to come down. You're going to join us, get some Bloody Marys in the morning, maybe some garlic cheese bread, some wings, something to eat. We're going to put you on the shuttles. You can get on the shuttle. If you have tickets to the game, you want to go down to the Brewers game, get on the shuttle, take the Steny shuttle over, get to the game, go enjoy the game. Go enjoy the game. Afterwards, come on back to Steny's and enjoy yourself. But we're going to have the show live from Steny, 2nd and National in Walker's Point, brought to you by our friends at Budweiser, the official beer sponsor of Major League Baseball. We're really looking forward to it. Hopefully you're down there to join us. And as Steny's saying goes, you should be here. So hopefully you come on down and join us down at Steny's 2 weeks from today. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
They have all of that as well. So go to check out our friends at G-E-T, getwabam.com. That is getwabam.com. If you're following on the Bud Light live stream, you're seeing it now. Go to getwabam.com and just check out everything they have to offer. Based right here in Wisconsin, and they can deliver in as little as a couple of days. And if you're looking for it just to kind of test it, they do carry it at Wisconsin Harley Davidson. So go to wishd.com. You can head on out there. Wisconsin Harley Davidson, Highway 67, just south in Oconomowoc, just south of 94. You can see it right off of the highway, right by the new stadium, the baseball stadium that's being built there. And you can stop in and pick up a bottle of Wabam there too, whatever type of cleaning product you're looking for. But if it's industrial, maybe you're a company that's looking for industrial cleaning products or janitorial services cleaning products, you can do that too. So check out our friends at getwabam.com. Bad news. I hate to deliver bad news, but I got to be honest. Brandon Woodruff going to be working out today. So during the time frame this program is on, we're not going to be able to be joined by Brandon Woodruff, unfortunately. So today he will not be able to join us. So my apologies, their apologies, but he's got some things going on and obviously getting ready for the season. So we're just like, you know what? That's fine. Go do your thing. So we'll see if we can't get like David Stearns or maybe Council or somebody on at some point. And we'll touch base with them in the regular season for sure. But kind of sad news. We thought we'd be able to work it out, but they just couldn't give us a specific time. So we just kind of said, okay, no problem. Let it go. We'll work it out. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Ben, I must have missed this morning. Was there something said about Andrew McCutchen staying at my house?
Yes. There was talk about the housing market and how he has had trouble finding a long-term place to live.
Okay.
Given something gets listed, then it gets picked up. So we were brainstorming in the 9 o'clock hour and we said, we know someone who lives, in very close outside Milwaukee, close to the ballpark that has extra beds. We said, hey, we could work it into his contract where there's an incentive. He plays better. He pays less in rent.
Right.
We could figure it out. He could be an intern on the show.
Sure.
So, yeah, we threw it out there.
We do that. Yeah, I'd wake him up in the morning, knock on their bedroom door as I walk past, yelling, how we looking? Yeah, it's one of those long road trips. He gets back at 4 a.m. I'm sure he's going to appreciate that. Yeah, I do that. If McCutchen needs a place to stay, we're good. I got plenty of room. I mean, he can. The nice thing about the house is you don't even have to see me. You can go to one end, I'll go to the other. You hang out back, I'll hang up here in the studio. And although out back is completely draped in snow at this point, the Tiki Bar is, for those watching on the Bud Light live stream. Yeah, there you go. That sucks. Although it has been melting rather quickly on the pavement, but on the grass and the trees and the top of the Tiki Hut, nah, baby, nah. It's building up. It's getting quite hefty out there. Still snowing, as a matter of fact. But it's supposed to get warmer throughout the day, and tomorrow's supposed to be like 46. So I think a majority of this is going to be gone. It's just going to turn into crap, which I'm good
so
with.
Messed up.
Yeah. It's. By the way, I put the poll question out for those that are wondering. I did. So today would have been opening week in baseball, and with 2 inches of snow on the ground, do you feel that the baseball season is too long? I love the answer. William says, retractable roof. Who cares? That's not the point. There's always a sarcastic idiot that actually hits enter and then just looks like a fool. It's just a question. You can either answer it or you don't. But the sarcasm.
Little Quipper over on Twitter has his undies in a bunch.
Yeah, William Wiesensoul, whatever the hell his name is. He's a retractable roof. Who cares about snow? Well, if you're a fan and you want to go tailgate, we do. We do. If you're going to sit at home with your arms folded going, no, I'm not going. I'm going to sit here where I got my own bathroom because I funkify the whole place and the stench of sewer gas coming out will offend everyone. It's a reason I don't go to the games. So then we don't care about you. Answer the question. By the way, though, the poll question, was that a really bad imitation there, Ben? Or was it that make you giggle? Okay.
I don't know.
Because it seems like that's the kind of guy that would answer that question that way. 67% of you at this point, with 135 votes in, say yes, this season is too long. Let's see here. We've got Tim Bruce says subtract 2 months from baseball, the beginning and the end. Warrior Poet says little to do with baseball season and more to do with the seasons shifting ever so slightly. Winter lasting into April, summer lasting into October. Fall and spring are gone. What? I've been around on Mother's Day when it snows. It's freakish into May, but it's true. And it was only 2 years ago that we had 6 inches of snow on Halloween. What the hell are you talking about? It's like if you have 1 year that is a little messed up, like last year was one of our hottest summers ever. Oh my God, this is crazy. We can't have this extreme heat. I'm moving. It's like suddenly Canada looks good. Do you know the world changes by maybe a half a degree to a degree? It's not this massive shift. Like all of a sudden, you know what? Living in Milwaukee, boy, I'm telling you, it's like Palm Springs now. It's unbelievable. We were down at McKinley Marina, and we were down at the beach, and Bradford Beach no longer has waste. It's fresh. It's clear. Sharks are coming in. It's Shark Week. And it's just, people are so goofy. It's like the people that adjust their thermostat. It's a little cold in here. And instead of like at 70, taking the nip off by a degree, which the body adjusts a degree at a time very fluidly. That's all you really need. People will put it up to 80. Oh, so hot. And then it'll go down to 60. I can't find a medium. Well, that was 70. Maybe 71. Beyond that, you're good. Oh boy. But many people chiming in over on the Twitter poll question, which is the baseball season, in your opinion, just too long? And that's not even a total weather question. That's just a question in general, really. Ted says yes. Yes, the season is too long. Also said tailgating is awesome. So yes, this would suck if we were all supposed to be tailgating for an opening day game, and it would be snowing like this. Because Jason says, who cares? We tailgate for Packers games. That's expected. Packers games are football. Packers games are this weather. You know that going into the season, you're playing in November, December, January. At least you hope January. Now with the extended season, of course, first week of January, but you get my point. That's what you hope for. It's going to be 10 below at some point. Baseball, that's boys of summer. That you don't go to a baseball game on a snowmobile. Brett says, by the way, more than an inch up here in Eau Claire. So I guess they're getting more snow into that area. Yeah, Phantom 193 says, this would have been an interesting day for opening day in baseball. Thank God they couldn't get their blank together. Right? I would not want to be sitting outside tailgating in this. That's for sure. Eric says, put on your big boy pants and tailgate like a man. I'm not tailgating like a man. I'm tailgating in comfort and in style. And I am going to tailgate in hopefully warm. Ben, do you tailgate in the rain?
I have many times.
Have
if it's
you?
raining and I'm going to tailgate, then nothing changes the plans.
Okay. I don't tailgate in the rain. Now, if I'm tailgating and it begins to rain, I have stayed, or I have figured out a way to, whether it's an umbrella or whatever. But it's not like it's pouring down rain and I'm like, you know what? Get the cooler and the grill. I'm not that guy. I say to myself, I'll go a little later and I'll just go straight into the game. Or I have, stopped at a restaurant or something with a cooler in the back, sat in the car and ate, talked, pre-gamed a little bit, and then gone in. But I'm not one of those people that's standing out there completely soaking wet in the middle of the rain tailgating. If I was 21, I'd be doing it in a heartbeat. I'd be the guy like looking for the puddles to jump in. But no, I'm not doing that anymore.
I will say the mentality for football and baseball is different.
Yes.
If it's not perfect weather, I'm probably not tailgating baseball. But then if it's football, I go in with a different mindset. It could be -10 and snowing.
Right.
And I'm down for it.
That's what you're looking forward to. You get it. You look a week ahead. Football, I agree with you. You look a week ahead and you're like, you know what? It's going to be, look at the forecast. It's going to be, 10 degrees with a wind chill of 7 below. And you're actually out at Dick's or Dunham's or Sherpers or whatever, and you're buying gear. What are you doing this weekend? I'm tailgating. What are you here for? I'm buying this. I'm buying a waterproof coat. I'm buying a waterproof hat. I'm buying something. I'm buying a tent. We're tailgating. You're prepared for that. Baseball, you're kind of like, you want to put on a pair of shorts, maybe a pullover or a jersey, ball cap, maybe a jacket in case it's a little cool, but you don't want to go tailgate in snow. Yeah, that's not the thing. You want to go out and throw the ball around, walk around the parking lot, have a beer in your hand, make it feel like it's boys of summer. That's what baseball's supposed to be. There you go. 877-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. Drew says, I'm right there with you. Not a tailgater when it comes to rain or heavy snow during baseball. It's weird, though. I will tailgate in any weather for a Packers game. It's just not the same. See, that's true. It's just not the same. I get you. I hear you, man. Let's do this. We'll step away, take a quick break, come back. More of the Bill Michaels Show right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Now, Gina Della from Pella, Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, with some choice words.
Oh, do I have some choice words? One window line fits all? Where's the choice in that? Sounds more like take it or leave it, to which I say leave it and choose Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Talk about choices. Others may have one or two window lines, but with Pella, you'll choose from Pella's 6 lines to suit your taste and budget. 2 lines of energy efficient, budget-friendly vinyl windows, Pella Impervia, the strongest material for windows, to 3 lines of luxurious wood windows, traditional to contemporary. Speaking of choices, right now choose 18 months no payments and no interest, or $300 off each window, $700 off a Pella entry system, and $1,000 off a patio door. Whatever you choose, just be sure to book your choices by March 31st. Set your free consultation now at PellaWI.com.
Supply showroom for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
RV.com. That is CunisRV.com. And they got it all for you. If you're thinking about something like a new RV, a fifth wheel, a travel trailer, whatever it happens to be, camper van, they got you covered. Jayco, Alliance, Coachman, Catalina, Nexus, Forest River, Gulfstream, they got it all. Stop into any one of their RV locations, Kunis, Kunes, Kunis RV, and just take advantage of what's upcoming. And do it now because the interest rates continue to go up and they're trying to hold them down pretty low. So do it now before they go up again. Start looking into this. And if you got a trade, they're offering big money. And if you got a consignment, they can help you out there as well. So get a hold of our friends over at Kunis RV, Wisconsin's fastest growing RV dealer. That's Kunis, Kunes, Kunis RV. If you know Scott Remmer down there in Elkhorn, that's the guy that I deal with, or Tom Cahill. I mean, he's kind of the GM. He's the guy that's running all over the place. Check out, call Tom and say, hey, Tom, I heard about it. Heard about it on the program. Where do I go to get the best deal? Which dealership? And they'll point you in the right direction. Good people over there at Kunis RV. Go to Kunis, Kunes, KunisRV.com. That is KunisRV.com. So a couple of things. First of all, the poll question, which is up and running, 171 votes in. Do you feel that the baseball season is too long, considering this would have been opening week in baseball? We got 2 inches of snow on the ground. 66.1% of you say yes. 33.9% of you say no. No, it's not too long. There's a lot of good baseball fans out there. A lot of really good baseball fans out there that love the length of the season. I just don't want to see baseball. I don't mind if if the Brewers are in it, it's at home, it's at American Family Field under a dome. I'm good with that. I'm great with it. I don't mind it if it's down in Houston. I don't mind it if it's out in LA. I don't mind it if it's down in Florida. If it's Tampa Bay and that god-awful stadium they have down there, the Tropicana Field or whatever the hell they call it now. But I just don't want to see, like Cleveland and Colorado and it's snowing like crazy, because we've seen that before. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. By the way, coming up after the top of the hour, Peter Bukowski, he's going to talk about the Devontae fallout, wide receiver movement in the draft, and the rumors that have come out that the Packers are among a couple of teams that are heavily searching for a wide receiver. Now, this is not shocking because we were talking about this. I mean, I was hearing the same thing, and we talked about this a week ago. So this is not like all of a sudden breaking news. To some, though, it's kind of like, oh my God, it's proof they're desperate. I don't think they're desperate. I think they're doing their due diligence to find out the value, what's available, and what it's going to take to make. Because right now, you can make a move right now, but is the move today necessary as opposed to the move tomorrow? Because there's nothing going on right now. It's pretty quiet. But in the next 2 weeks, what you're going to see leading up to the draft is the swapping of draft choices. And you're going to find out about what may or may not be available after the June 1st cutdown. That's also going to happen. So think about that. But they're doing their due diligence, laying groundwork right now to find out what is in it. Because you don't want to sit there today and start making offers and then find out on draft day that they're taking your offer and shopping that offer. And that's what's going to happen to other teams, because then it's only going to go up. What you're doing right now is making phone calls to say, if there was an offer on the table that was suiting you, would you be willing to part with this particular player? And you're finding out if general managers are saying, we'd listen. Or if general managers are saying, no, this guy's off the table, it would take a lot or whatever, then you kind of get a sense as to who is and isn't available. That's what you're doing right now. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. So we're going to talk with Peter Bukowski coming up after the top of the hour. So hang in there for that. Hang in there for that. Steve says, hey, unit, the baseball season way too long. A lot of meaningless games, even though I do appreciate the unbalanced schedule. Too many meaningless games against too many bad baseball teams. Yeah. You're going to play the Cubs and the Pirates and the Reds, and none of which are going to be projected to do much this year, or even get over 500 for that matter. So I get it, but that's also where you pad your record. That's where you stack the obvious wins. And, look, if you're out west, I like the unbalanced schedule, quite frankly. I always have. I know some people don't necessarily like it. I always have. Always have. Because I think it puts the emphasis on the games in your own division to be meaningful. You don't want to stub your toe against Pittsburgh and lose a 4-game series. You just don't. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. Coming up next, going to talk some football. Peter Bukowski, Locked on Packers podcast, going to be joining us. That is coming up next on the Bill Michaels Show.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Will he stay or will he go? Later today, sophomore Badgers guard Johnny Davis will announce if he's staying at UW or will head to the NBA. Now, Davis's announcement will be aired at 2 o'clock on ESPN's NBA Today. Wisconsin basketball is also losing another front court player to the transfer portal. Sophomore forward Ben Carlson announced his decision yesterday that he is moving on from the Badgers. Carlson joins 2021 forward Matthew Moores as Wisconsin front court players in the transfer portal. To the NBA, the Milwaukee Bucks are just one game out of first place in the Eastern Conference with a record of 47-28, trailing only the Miami Heat. The Deer are coming off a win against the 76ers in Philadelphia Tuesday night and are back at it tonight in Brooklyn when they take on the Nets. Tip-off is at 6:30.
Want to save even more at Fleet Farm? Well, now you can with Fleet Rewards. It's free to sign up, and there's no credit card required. Using Fleet Rewards is easy. Earn points every time you shop. Plus, get exclusive member offers, birthday and anniversary perks, free tire rotations, and more. Download the Fleet Farm app or create an account at fleetfarm.com/rewards to start earning points today. Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955.
At the NFL owners' meetings in Florida, Packers head coach Matt LaFleur was talking about replacing Devontae Adams for their wide receiver room and needing speed. But with free agency and the draft looming, LaFleur did say the room will look much different at the start of the season than it does now.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy to replace by any stretch, and I think we're going to have to do a great job. And let's face it, there's 6 months before we have to kick off. So I would envision a lot is going to happen between now and opening day.
And finally, Wisconsin football will have their 5th spring practice today as they prepare for the 2022 season. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
Some teenagers here who are looking pretty good, throwing passes in the pool. So I don't know. We might need to call Brian Gutekunst, get him a short-term deal here, maybe some void years on the back end, so we can make the salary cap work.
So rumor comes out the Packers are looking, one of the teams that are out there looking for wide receivers, and we hear the stories that good wide receivers are going to go much higher than expected in the draft, and you're going to have to spend draft capital to get them. And, I don't think the Packers are desperate. I just think right now they're doing their due diligence to see what it's going to cost them to get themselves eventually a veteran. And I think that's what's happening behind the scenes right now. Give me your thoughts.
So I think a couple things. We always hear every year that there are going to be these groups of players who are going to go higher than expected, and then some do and some don't. This is just the nature of the business. It's the nature of how these leagues work. First, it's, there's all these offensive tackles. They're going to go up, and that could push other positions down. Or there's all these pass rushers, and that's going to push other positions down. There are going to be runs. We see it every year. And that's just that it's really hard to predict, even for teams in the league, when those are going to happen. What I thought was interesting, though, is when Matt LaFleur at owners' meetings was asked, and you played that soundbite, he also said, there are unexpected things that can happen between now and the draft and now in the beginning of the regular season. Mark Murphy, in an interview with Larry McCarron for Packers.com, mentioned that the Packers had a lot of draft capital, and he sort of said with a wink, he said something to the effect of, I'll just say, we have a lot of draft capital, and that they feel really good about that. There's something going on behind the scenes that they're working on, and based on what I've been told, and you mentioned some of the stuff that's out there about them efforting a veteran, that they're trying to take a swing. Now, whether or not they're going to eventually land on someone is another question entirely, right? We don't know that they're going to be able to get anything together, but they don't seem worried. They don't seem flustered by this, which could just be a front. Generally, I find that NFL front office people and NFL coaches and NFL players are really bad actors. They do not hide their secrets very well, except for Bill Belichick, who's monotone about everything. I think that they think that they can get someone if they want them. It's going to depend on cost and all of that kind of stuff. So that means players that we have heard and has been reported by good sources, I would say, that there are these players available. Tyler Lockett in Seattle. That would have to be after the draft because his pre-June 1 cap hit is crazy.
Right.
DK Metcalf could be someone out there. That is the name that I think is on the tongues of Packer fans everywhere. If you could get DK Metcalf, it's like, Devontae, enjoy Las Vegas. This guy's a monster. And then there was that report over the last weekend, about the Jets keeping an eye on DK Metcalf, A.J. Brown in Tennessee, and Deebo Samuel in San Francisco. All guys who are coming up in a year that are going to want top-of-market contracts, and on teams that might not want to pay them or might not feel like they have the resources necessary to pay them. The Titans owe Ryan Tannehill a boatload of money. They have to pay Derrick Henry a lot of money. What is that future there? So if the Jets are keeping an eye on it, they think that there's a chance that those guys can be had. Shawn Michael, the Seahawks writer for The Athletic, whose name unfortunately I'm forgetting at the moment, reported that DK Metcalf could be had for a first-round pick potentially. Green Bay has 2 of those picks. They have the draft capital to go make a swing at one of these players who could be available, but they also have the draft capital. If they fall in love with Drake London, who's going to test here in a couple of days, let's say he runs 4.5 flat at his pro day at USC, special pro day. He jumps 40 inches, which he's probably going to do. If you haven't seen the clip of him 540 windmill dunking in high school, you should probably go do that. He was a basketball player at USC. He was a dual sport athlete. Then maybe they trade up to 15 to try and snag someone like that. I think there are a lot of similarities between him and early Devontae Adams. Not that he's going to become, late career Devontae Adams. There are plenty of guys in this draft in the top 50 that Green Bay could be targeting. They could be grabbing 2 guys. That could be their plan. There's still so much time left that I think they feel good about their plan moving forward. And why shouldn't they? They have Aaron Rodgers, the 2-time defending league MVP.
Yeah, I don't get a sense. I'm with you. I don't get a sense they're panicking. I think fans are, but I don't think they are. I keep talking to people about they have and they keep saying wait till after June 1st because there's a lot of salary ramifications that can happen then as well. So all is not lost until you actually walk through the door at training camp and you don't have anybody else in that room. So I completely am with you on this. What else do the Packers need to do? I mean, do they need to say, another edge rusher? Do they need to find additional depth up front now that they've brought in Jaron Reed? Do they continue to try to go to fortify that area? They took away some of the desperation in those areas by signing Devondre Campbell, by signing Reed, by bringing back Rasul Douglas, by deepening their secondary. It seems like this could be a really offensive heavy draft.
It does feel that way. And when is the last time we've really seen that? 2020, I guess you could say was, but not in the same way that we're thinking about this draft. A.J. Dillon, Josiah DeGuara, and Jordan Love. We knew Jordan Love was not going to play even under the best of circumstances for him. A.J. Dillon was at best the third running back on that team. Josiah DeGuara was like the at best third tight end on that team. That was depth. That was future. This draft, I think, is going to have a lot more immediate impact. And you can look at last year. Josh Myers was drafted to immediately become an impact player. Amari Rodgers was drafted to become an impact player. That was before, remember, they traded for Randall Cobb. And that's probably a good thing in retrospect because Amari Rodgers did not look ready to play. When I look at this roster, I think Green Bay is in the excellent position of really only having this one big black hole need, and that's at receiver. I am of the belief that Elton Jenkins is going to play right tackle for this team in 2022 and beyond, and they're going to pay him a right tackle contract, which is just another reason why Devontae Adams not being on the books has ramifications for other players on this roster. That leaves John Runyon Jr., who I think turned into a pretty solid left guard, and then you have a question about right guard. What is Royce Newman? As we move forward here, I think they could be drafting an interior offensive lineman, but I see a lot of mock drafts that have the Packers taking a tackle. I think Elton Jenkins is their right tackle of the future. So that leaves backups mostly, right? I mean, we're talking about nickel safety. They need a third safety to play with Darnell Savage and Adrian Amos if they want to play all these light boxes. I think there are a lot of really great guys, Juwan Brisker, and Daxton Hill. There's some players that maybe a dark horse first round pick even, depending on what they can do at receiver. I think that makes a lot of sense for them. And then edge is a place that I have heard that they want to fortify. They want to get a third edge rusher. And to the point that players on the team are like, yeah, I think we're going to take an edge rusher early. I think someone like George Karlaftis, who I'm sure a lot of your audience watched play at Purdue. He is athletically a better athlete than I think some people give him credit for, had an outstanding 3-cone at his pro day, which is something the Packers value. So that could be a guy to watch, especially if he starts to fall. Maybe they move up. I think in a perfect world, the Packers would like to trade for a veteran receiver, one of these high-end players, and then move up for an edge rusher and feel like the team is fortified. I think that would be their perfect world scenario. They don't have that many other things to worry about. Then it's depth. Then it's best player available. Where can you find value? And my thing has always been, it's not just best player available. It's the player who can impact your team the most in the first 4 years on the team. On the rookie contract, how can they impact your roster the most? And you find those guys. And that includes guys who might leave in free agency. What is the future of Adrian Amos? I think his safety is almost a definite top 100 pick because the future of Darnell Savage. What is that? I think they're gonna pick up the option. They're gonna sign a contract and he's gonna be their safety for a long time. But Adrian Amos, I don't know. So they need to figure that part of it out, and maybe that's something that they look at here. That's a sneaky pick that I don't see a lot of people talking about.
Talking with Peter Bukowski, by the way, the Locked On Packers podcast. Find him at Peter_Bukowski. So let me ask you this regarding Jair, because we keep waiting for that contract to get done. Maybe a restructure of Dean Lowry as well to free up some additional space. When do you think those happen?
When the Packers need the money. I think that's the deadline that ultimately spurs the action, because we got the reports at the Combine that they're negotiating a deal. The Packers would like to get Jair Alexander extended, and it would save them money this year to do it. He's $13 million on their books on that 5th-year option. They can probably cut that number in half. Right now, they have in that $15-16 million range in terms of cap. They're going to need about half that to sign their rookie class, and then you're left with a nice number for cushion, which is what you need going into the season. If they want to sign someone, if they want to make a move, if they want to, make a trade, for example, they're going to need to clear some more space, which, as you said, you could get a Dean Lowry restructure. There are some other players that could take some restructures here as well. Then you could make a move like that, and I think that makes a lot of sense. I would guess that this gets done before the season because I think that they want to use that space. They want to create a little bit of extra cushion to make a move and add to this roster if they need to. And so the Jair Alexander contract would allow them to do that. Plus, you get to lock up a player who is foundational to what you want to be moving forward.
So I still think the Packers have the ability to pick up a wide receiver, but let me go back to what Matt LaFleur said. Matt LaFleur talked about a guy that can take the lid off, a guy that can stretch the field, a guy that knows it.
Yep.
He gave all the indications that they are not just looking for young rookies. They are looking for a veteran, didn't he?
Well, I think what he implied is that they're going to exhaust all options. And I think that he acknowledged that there has been a learning curve with receivers, that they had a plan for that. And I think that is part of what you're referring to, that maybe, okay, well, if it takes a little while for these rookies to get going, then maybe you have to get a veteran. I think also it might affect the way that they view someone like Chris Olave, who is another Packers favorite. He is, I think, Packers draft crush #1 right now, based on my anecdotal research, based on what I hear from Packers fans. And he is, I think, the most pro-ready receiver in this draft, regardless of the quality of the prospect. I don't think he's the #1 receiver in this draft, but I think he is the most pro-ready, and I think he could come in right away and give the Packers a lot of what Aaron Rodgers wants in terms of intelligence, in terms of feel, in terms of smooth route running, in terms of being in the right places at the right time, experience, and yet he's still only 22 years old. Plus, he has that 4.39 easy speed. He will just run by you. He fits a lot of those boxes, and maybe it's as simple as they feel like they know about where he's going to go. They're willing to move up to get him, and he's the guy that they can target. I think if you're looking at him optimistically, he could have that sort of that Adam Thielen type career where he's really a 1B if you had a better 1A, but could be the guy in your offense that could carry it, can play in the slot, can play outside, has the speed to get downfield, is a really good route runner, and has terrific hands at the catch point, good body control. I think that there's a lot of similarities there. A Chad Johnson minus the I'm going to change my name to Chad Ochocinco stuff. I think that's another high-end comp for Chris Olave, and if that's the guy you're getting, that's great. But at the same time, I think what you can't count on is rookies being good. I think receivers come in more ready than ever to produce for your team, but at the same time, most rookies are bad, and that's even guys who turn out to be good. Just look at Packers receivers of recent past who turn out to be a really good player. Jordan Nelson was bad for like 3 years. Devontae Adams, it took 3 years. It took Randall Cobb. Really 2014 was the season. He was drafted in 2011. It has taken Packers receivers with Aaron Rodgers a while to figure this out. So whether you go get a Will Fuller or a Julio Jones, I think the reason that the Packers haven't done that, though, Bill, is because they think there are better options, or at least higher end options, that they need to explore first. They think these guys are going to be on the market. And my guess is they've touched base with their agents and said, hey, we're working on some stuff. We really would like to have your guy, but we're trying to work on some things. Let's get back to you. Let's stay in touch. If you want to come compete for a Super Bowl, we're the place. Come talk to us in a month and let's figure this out. I think they're in a very good position to be attractive to top talent because they can promise, hey, you're going to be the #1 right away. You're going to come in and be the #1. And that's not true for someone like Will Fuller or Julio Jones. Most places they would otherwise sign. I think that puts Green Bay in very good position to add a veteran and a rookie. And then with Big Bob Tunyon, with Randall Cobb, with Alan Lazard, and the run game that they have, they can field a potent offense, even if it's not what it was with Devontae Adams in 2020 or 2021.
Good stuff as always, my friend. I appreciate it, and we'll chat again soon. Okay, Peter?
Thanks, Bill.
Enjoy the rest of your vacation, man. There you go. That is our good buddy, Peter Bukowski. Locked on Packers podcast. You can find his stuff there at Peter_Bukowski and hear his stuff. Always good to talk with him, and a lot of good perspective there when it comes to what the Packers can and can't do, what they are and aren't going to do. And are we panicked? No. No. I still feel that they're going to get a veteran. I still feel that they are going to use some of that draft capital to pick up that veteran, and they're going to get Jair done. They're going to clear some space. They're going to add maybe one or two even rookies in that draft class as well, and then they're going to fortify the rest of the team in that particular manner. But I'm not panicked. Just I'm not. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. More of the Bill Michaels Show. It's coming up next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Your race tickets await at Road America, the Moto America Superbikes, IndyCar, NASCAR, and so much more. Go to roadamerica.com for your tickets right now. Road America, America's national park of speed.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Right? You're not going to do a lot of tailgating on a day like today, but if you are going to do some tailgating, say the Brewers game in a couple of weeks, then you can stop off at Quick Trip. They have those bacon wrapped pork fillets, really good, 99 cents, limit 5. Stop in and grab them. But they've got all kinds of good food, good tailgating food. You can pick up your brats, your hot dogs, your buns, all your condiments, Everything for your tailgate, including your favorite beverages, right there at Quick Trip. Stop in and tell them we said hi. Quick Trip, good people, longtime sponsor of the program, and just one of the best things about Wisconsin, to be perfectly honest with you. Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota, all throughout those areas, just one of the best things that have ever come from this state. Fantastic stuff. I want to get into the discussion regarding the Packers. And Scott says the salary cap is fake. I always love that one. The salary cap is manipulable. You can manipulate it, but eventually it all comes due. You can do a lot of things today, but put it this way: guaranteed money is guaranteed money. You're going to pay it, whether it's today, tomorrow, in a month, a year, 2 years, 5 years, whatever. You're going to pay it. That's why there is a lot of owners that are really pissed off at what the Cleveland Browns did, because they jacked up the market on quarterback play. They fell in their heads. And now you take a guy like Lamar Jackson. By the way, Lamar Jackson's his own agent, him and his mom. Did you know that, Ben? That him and his mom are his agent?
I remember the story.
Yeah. They do all of his.
I don't know if he fired the guy or just he said, I'm going to represent myself.
He's representing himself. He said it's much harder to look across the table and put me down if you're looking directly at me. So he's his own agent. And he just told the Baltimore Ravens that, no, I'm not in a hurry. Don't worry about it. And the Ravens want to get it done. And, the thought is that by him waiting and then the signing of Deshaun Watson to that stupid deal, basically he just made a ton of money and he didn't do anything because the way the market has now changed, which is why all eyes are upon Lamar Jackson for his next deal. Because if he then gets $230 million guaranteed, that's the new norm, of which, as well as I do, at some point, teams aren't going to be able to afford to do this anymore. And there's going to be a lockout or a strike, and they're going to try to put the blank back in the horse because Cleveland screwed it up. Because if I'm Rodgers, I'm sitting there going, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Cleveland did it, but they're Cleveland. They suck. Cleveland screwed themselves. And I think what every owner is now looking at is hoping the Cleveland Browns go down in flames with that contract. Just go down in flames. Because now it's guaranteed. Unless Deshaun Watson is proven to be as guilty gets, that it comes out in all of this testimony in the legal system, in the lawsuit phase, that he did all of this. And I know Roger Goodell spoke to this and said, hey, we're monitoring this. We have yet to make a decision. We're following the investigation. We're waiting to find out the details as it becomes available of the civil suits. Then they're going to make a decision. They're going to make a decision sooner rather than later, you would assume, before the season gets going. But that's what everybody's waiting for, unless it comes out that it's so unbelievably egregious that they just suspend him for 2 years and he doesn't get paid. Because if you get suspended, you don't get paid. That he's going to come back in maybe 6 weeks, 8 weeks, miss half a season, and then come back and make a ton of money. And then it's all going to be guaranteed from here on out. So the NFL is looking at this saying, there's no way. There's no way. This has screwed it up. But right now, there's a feeling out process in the NFL for teams when it comes to salary cap. Yes, I agree with you that the salary cap can be a joke. But the bottom line is, whatever you guarantee, you have to pay. Today, tomorrow, a year, 5 years, you got to pay it. And you got to pay it before that player's career comes to an end, or as that player's career comes to an end. So I get what you're saying about, it's stupid, don't talk about it, but it is real. Because are you pushing your chips to the middle of the table today? Because remember what happened years ago to San Francisco after they ended up kind of tearing it apart. Once DeBartolo was gone, Steve Young was gone, A lot of those quality players started to move on. Jerry Rice moved on. They were in salary cap jail for years with dead cap money. 4 years. And they couldn't sign players. They couldn't get free agents. You were just hoping that whoever they drafted was good, and they hit on every draft guy, and the team was built that way, because that's the only way you're going to make a go of it. So that's what the Packers are balancing right now. Yeah, we can do anything we want. They know that. They know that. They can do anything they want. It is a joke, but eventually it comes due. And what you don't want is you don't want to put all your chips to the middle of the table in the next 2-3 years, not win the championship. Rodgers goes away. Your quarterback is gone unless you draft somebody new or Jordan Love turns out to be the real deal, which he's not. And then you're going to look at it and say, in 2027, 2028, 2025, 2026, you're going to be looking at this thing going, who are these guys? Who are these guys? And suddenly you're Detroit and you don't have anything to show for it. So yeah, it's a joke. You can make fun of it, but eventually you got to pay it, without a doubt. I mean, you got to pay it. You're just, all you're doing. The term is the saying is, you're just kicking a can down the road until eventually you got to pick the can up. You got to pick the can up and put it in the trash. Otherwise, you're just kicking it down the road. Yes, I get that. 877-867-1670. Justin says, did people think that they were meaningless baseball games when the Brewers were in the tank, or were they happy to be able to watch the team play? It's different now that they're winning. I think the season is fine the way it is. I love my Brewers and want to see all the games, if anything, start the season a couple of weeks earlier. That's just it, though. If you're going to start the season a couple of weeks earlier, that's fine. You can do that. There's been some talk of this where you start at stadiums that have a dome or stadiums in the South. That's what you do. You start in those particular places. And then you, for the first 2 weeks of the season, and then you work your way back into the northern climate once things have stabilized, we'll say. Work your way back into the northern climate, say into the middle of April, end of April, into May. Okay, you can see that. But otherwise, no, you don't want to extend the season even more and start it even earlier. What would make you think that last week? Now, again, we're talking about, in the Milwaukee area, as a Brewers fan, they got a dome. But do you think that you're going to make, as an owner, any money at all if you're in the Twin Cities starting it 2 weeks ago? Come on. They were getting snow constantly. Snow and rain constantly. What about Cleveland? What about Colorado? I mean, even San Francisco, Seattle. Now Seattle's got a dome, but even San Francisco, they've had inclement weather passing through the northern California climate. It's rain, but it's this seasonal stuff. Boston, New York, Mets, Yankees, Red Sox, all of it. Philadelphia, Cincinnati, they've had the same. Now, they've had some more warmer weather, but they've also been very up and down like we have. Pittsburgh, that's a lot of teams right there that you're going to just kind of throw by the wayside and say, well, we won't even get into those areas until later. Not until later. I would start the season the second week of April and go to the second week of September and play a total maybe of 5 doubleheaders in the season. Owners don't want that because they don't want to lose that revenue. But if you start the season earlier, or you look outside on a day like today, if you're in Minneapolis, how many people are showing up to a baseball game? 5,000? Maybe? You're spending more money on opening the stadium and playing the game than you are bringing in. You're probably losing money to begin with. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. 877-867-1670. After 240 votes, the poll question, do you feel that the baseball season is too long? 67.8% of you now say yes, it's too long. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Now, Gina Della from Pella, Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, with some choice words.
Oh, do I have some choice words? One window line fits all? Where's the choice in that? Sounds more like take it or leave it, to which I say leave it and choose Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Talk about choices. Others may have one or two window lines, but with Pella, you'll choose from Pella's 6 lines to suit your taste and budget. 2 lines of energy efficient, budget friendly vinyl windows, Pella Impervia, the strongest material for windows, to 3 lines of luxurious wood windows, traditional to contemporary. Speaking of choices, right now choose 18 months no payments and no interest, or $300 off each window, $700 off a Pella entry system, and $1,000 off a patio door. Whatever you choose, just be sure to book your choices by March 31st. Set your free consultation now at PellaWI.com.
Research and supplies, for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Glad to have you. If you're heading down to downtown, maybe you're going to go to a Bucks game. Maybe you're heading over to check out an Admirals game. Maybe you just want to watch the game, whether it's a Brewers game or whatever, ahead of time. Check out our friends at MKE Brewing. MKE Brewing, right there on 9th Street, downtown Milwaukee. And as you can see, if you're watching on the Bud Light live stream, many different types of craft brews. They brew seasonal stuff, and you can always go upstairs, check out the upstairs patio. The rooftop patio, as a matter of fact, that overlooks the Fiserv Forum. You can see that, and just enjoy everything they have to offer. You got a good craft brewery right here in our own backyard. So check out our friends at MKE Brewing, 9th Street, downtown Milwaukee. Head down there and check it out. Good stuff. 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, hit us up. Mark says, I like the doubleheader idea. I do too. I like the fact that, and again, maybe now I know this sounds stupid. Okay. I hate to do this, but maybe baseball needs to take a look at its past to reinvent itself. Maybe baseball needs to take a look at the past to reinvent itself. I'm not saying you go back to the old, business person special, doubleheader, that type of thing. I'm not saying you have to do that, but baseball has lost its romance. Baseball was the national pastime because of the romance of what it was. And yes, we are all caught up in replay. And yes, we're all caught up in time and pitch counts and clocks and all that kind of stuff. But when analytics took over and money took over, and, you're not going to get rid of the money. So you got to figure out how to make the game itself romantic. It's got to be the place to be. We don't have a problem with it in Wisconsin. We don't. You know why? Because the Brewers are winners. If this was County Stadium on a day like this, 3,000 people, 4,000 people. That's it. Nobody's going to see the game, especially if the team stunk. I know. For last couple of years at County Stadium, I was here. I was in town. I was when the big thing going was Jeremy Burnitz, right? Poor Mark Loretta playing on some of those bad teams, So I get it. If your team's in it, you love baseball. If they're not, you're not a big baseball fan. You're not looking forward to it. You got to make the game an event. You got to bring the romanticism back. When I say college football, the first thing you think of is Saturdays, bands, schools, cheering, tailgating, all of that. When I say Packer football, the first thing you probably think of is Lambeau, tailgating, cold weather, fires and flags and pro shops. And you think that's an event. You go to it. Baseball, unless you're thinking of like in today's day and age for American Family Field, you're thinking of tailgating, maybe getting in early to go to one of the pro shops inside American Family Field. Walking in and seeing a game, maybe the smell. The first thing I think of when I think of baseball is the smell of the ballpark, the heavenly roasted nuts, the smell of the beer, the smell of the brats. There's a certain smell to the ballpark that I like. You can smell the grass on a day that they actually cut it. You can smell it. It's a very powerful thing. Smelling is a very powerful thing. The sense of smell. I think of all of that. I think of an evening out, usually with some friends. Maybe if there's like a business suite, then there's business deals going down. It's not the event. You know? If
I just think about heartbreak.
See, that's just it. I don't even think about outcome. I don't think about outcome. I think about the event. Very rarely do you think about the specifics of just the game. Going to anything is an event. If you think Bucks basketball, the first thing you think about is getting in there and just being a part of the electricity. And then Giannis, and then a dunk, and then a win. You think about kind of like that, the championship, if you have that remembrance. 67, 70,000 people outside in the Deer District. You kind of, there's a romance to that because it's not that far removed from our memories. Because we're a very give it to me now, out the fast food window society. That's what we've grown into. You got to recreate the event. You got to recreate the romance of going to the event for it to come back. You put out there some of these crazy, stupid, antiseptic places like, what do they call Tampa Bay Stadium now? It used to be Tropicana Field. Is it still Tropicana? It's not anymore. I think it's like a bank or something. But that place is terrible.
I think it's Tropicana.
Is it Tropicana? There is a romance to going to Wrigley. I don't like Wrigley, but people love it. There's a romance to it. Fenway, even the new Yankee Stadium. Dodger fans are Dodger fans. You know, there's a romance to baseball that not everybody has recaptured. We like it because it revolves around hope and winners, but there's an event to it. I go to Brewers games for 3 reasons. Okay, 3 reasons. One is I'll go there as a media person and I'll cover it, sit in the press box. I go there to kind of gather information and to kind of just enjoy the game. 2, as a fan. I'll either get tickets with friends or Kristen and I'll go, sit in the stands, just kind of enjoy the game, talk, that type of thing. Or 3, there's a business aspect to it. You're going with clients, you're going to a suite, somebody's got an invite for you to be a part of a party or a gathering. Those are the 3 things I go for. That's it. But am I going just because I want to just sit there and be a part of it? I do because I'm a baseball fan. But what you're trying to bring in is the casual fan. So if you're trying to bring the romance of the game back, how do you describe it now? How do you describe baseball now? Because so much of the luster of the game between Rob Manfred and the 60-game season and the lockout and the money and all the other crap that's been piled onto baseball and pitch clocks and now they're talking about taking umpires out of the game and electronics, and it's like, just stop. Just go back to what the game was. The game was a great game. And with all the crap, we've ruined it. And it's not necessarily baseball's fault. Part of it is our fault. Media. We bitch and moan about every little thing. And then you get fired up about it. And then we pile on that. And then before you know it, we've piled so much crap on, you can't just enjoy the game anymore. It's kind of like parents with their kids. When they want their kid to play a game and enjoy it. Why? Because you want the kids to just have fun. That's the way it starts out. But then before you know it, parents are screaming and yelling at umpires, screaming and yelling at coaches. Their kid either isn't playing or isn't playing enough. And if he is playing, he's not batting fourth or batting first or pitching. He's just playing in the field. And then you start telling your kid about how bad it sucks, about how this kid doesn't hit as well as you do, and you should be hitting here. And then your kid starts to believe it. And before you know it, the reason you went was the enjoyment of the game, and it's gone. You've zapped it from yourself. You've zapped it from the kid. The kid hates the game. It's not a game. It's just political compromise. Nobody wants that. So I think baseball has taken away, we've taken away the romance of the game. The days of wearing your fedora and your suits are well in the rearview mirror. So how do you recapture what once was? How do you go back to that? And part of the problem is it's money. It's money. You can do a lot of promotions, and bobblehead nights are great. Ben says bring back more dollar hot dog nights. Dollar hot dog nights are great. I get it. Do more things for the fans to make the fans say, this is great. Some of the promotions are hokey. Everybody loves a bobblehead night. Bobbleheads are great. But, the old dollar beer night will never happen again because drunk idiots ruin that for everybody. So you can't do dollar beers anymore. Dollar hot dog night. I don't know what else. I don't know what other promotions to do to get people to buy tickets to enjoy the romance of the game. And then just a good game. But I will agree with 90% of you that are chiming in saying, grip it and rip it and sabermetrics ruin the game. I agree. The strikeouts are fascist, both in pitching them and swinging at them. You love it when your pitcher does it. An 18 strikeout game, amazing. But ultimately, it was just a boring ass game. Because if it happens to you, boring. Mark says, instant replay. I do love it, but, right? Get it right. But part of arguing about the game was the romance of the game. I think it should be fair and foul. Out or safe. That's it. Nothing more. We shouldn't be looking at the transfer of the baseball on the phantom tag at second. We know what it is. Come on. Whether or not that split millisecond he had the baseball in his hand or he didn't as he was exchanging it from his glove to his throwing hand. Was it an out? Was it not an out? Whatever the call is in the field, it is what it is. Part of it, it's either out or safe at a base and fair or foul. That's it. Nothing more. All of this coming to the top of the stairs stuff and slowing it down, it's just done. Aaron says, I think the Brewers do a great job of bringing in fans with their 5 County Fridays. Some casuals may not want to spend a lot to attend the games, and these discounted games allow them to attend for almost nothing. Aaron, I agree with you. And I think it also is a nice way to give back to the counties that paid the taxes. That I agree with 100%. 100%. There's a lot of things you can do to make the game affordable. But we live in a privileged area. Why? 2 reasons. 1 is because the Brewers are winners right now. And 2 is because of that dome. Thank God there's a roof on that place. It guarantees fans from all over are going to come to Milwaukee. What I'm talking about is the overall game itself. Why the ratings are down. Why people say baseball is on a failing end of a spectrum. Why? That's what I worry about. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Called Pindell, Pindel, Pindell. Go to Pindell.com. And if you're looking to do work with a terrific company in all different types of manufacturing, then get a hold of them. They have many different facets. And if you're looking to work for a great company, same thing, get a hold of them. They have all kinds of different employment opportunities in many different facets, including training and including, giving you a lot of knowledge. So, if, later down the road, you want to go off on your own and be great, they promote that because they want their workers to be happy and to have futures and excel and all of that. So get a hold of our friends at Pindell, Pindel.com. That is Pindell.com, Pindell.com. If you're watching on the Bud Light live stream, you went from watching a completely snow-covered outside to now the pavement and such. It's switched back over to rain. It's starting to clear. And like I said, we got a lot of rain. And now it's going by the wayside because everything that was on the lights and built up on the tree branches, it's starting to fall and fade and melt away. I'm all for the, hey, we woke up this morning and it looked good. It was nice. It was a winter wonderland. And, now 12 hours later, it's going to be back to, on our way to spring. So I'm all for it. I'm just glad today was not opening day of baseball season. That's what I'm glad. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. A lot to get to in the sense of, our discussion with baseball and with football and the Green Bay Packers. I do like Steve gave me the James Earl Jones speech out of Field of Dreams. Oh, yeah. I like that. It's baseball, Ray. Baseball.
Probably a top 4 baseball movie, you'd say?
Yep. As a matter of fact, I sat downstairs last night I was on the phone. I had a lot going on yesterday and I was on the phone. I went downstairs into the bar and I was sitting down and I was going to have a smoke a cigar. Do you ever have one of those days where your day gets thrown off by drinking?
Yes. Most Wednesdays in this office, thanks to our morning show friends.
There you go. Yesterday was one of those days. Kristen had a meeting and she called me and said, hey, myself and our lender, we're going out for lunch. Do you want to meet us? I said, sure. So there's a Mexican place right up the street called Casa Tequila. I love that place. And they serve these giant fishbowl margaritas. And this was like 3:00. So I went up there and ate and waited for them a little while. So I had one of the big giant margaritas. And after that, I had a couple of Bud Lights. And I'm like, thank God I only live like literally 2 minutes and 30 seconds away. And I came home and I thought, I'm going to go downstairs and have a cigar. And I sat down in the chair. We got the new chairs downstairs. Sat down in the chair, flipped on the TV. Bull Durham was on. And I ended up going, oh. And I didn't move for the next 3 hours, 2.5 hours. I just sat there and watched Bull Durham, watched a baseball movie. Again, a Kevin Costner movie, but a baseball movie.
Movie's probably top 6.
Yeah, I love Bull Durham. It's fantastic. So watched that last night. And then a buddy of mine called me and said, hey, he was down in Ohio. And he said, you guys getting snow up there? And I went upstairs and sure enough, it was just driving rain. And I said, no, we got rain, but you could clearly see the snow was coming. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to hunker down and go to bed. And I did. So I was in bed by about 9:30 last night. Not doing anything, just watching some TV and hanging out. But I agree with you. Field of Dreams, fantastic baseball movie.
I'm going to get you with that this summer.
With what? Field of Dreams?
We're going to get into ranking the movies again. I know it's your least favorite thing to do in the world.
I know. But again, the my best sports movies, and there's not a rating system. It's just my best sports movies. I love Field of Dreams. I love Bull Durham. If you want to call it a golf movie, Caddyshack. Hoosiers is one of my all-time favorite. Boxing is Rocky, the original. And beyond that, I don't have a ton of, other sports movies that I really, really love. So every now and then when Blue Chips comes on from years ago, Nick Nolte and Shaq and everybody, I've watched that. It's good, but it's a little bit hokey. There are a lot of cameos in that one. But beyond that, we're going to talk to Seth Partnow coming up next. Stay tuned. We're going to talk ranking some of these NBA teams with some analytics and basketball and all that kind of good stuff. Got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Bucks are in Brooklyn. It's where they'll take on the Nets tonight. Another important matchup for playoff seeding. Milwaukee sitting in second place in the Eastern Conference, 1 game back of Miami and just 1 game up on Philadelphia and Boston. Whoever ends up getting the top seed may have to play Brooklyn in the first round. They currently hold the number 8 seed, but are still considered the betting favorites to win the conference with a healthy Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving able to now play both home and away games after New York dropped its vaccine mandate. The Bucks have won 7 of the last 10 games coming in. Tip is set for 6:30. Turn to the Badgers. All-American Johnny Davis going to announce his decision this afternoon on whether he will turn pro or return to Wisconsin for another year. The Wooden Horn finalist is expected to leave for the NBA draft. Many have projected him as a lottery pick after being named Big Ten Player of the Year and leading the Badgers to a share of the Big Ten title. Meanwhile, Brewers were 4-2 losers to the Padres out at spring training yesterday. They'll take on the Angels today. Opening day in Chicago against the Cubs, now just 1 week away.
Hey, Grill, we've missed you. What a better way to treat an old grill friend than by cooking up some tender, juicy 5-ounce bacon-wrapped pork fillets. Oh, man, now just 99 cents each at Quick Trip. With a limit of 5, hey, you've got some serious grill time to make up. And bacon-wrapped pork fillets will warm up every grill's heart. So turn the heat up on your grill mats with 5-ounce bacon-wrapped pork fillets from Quick Trip. Quick Trip. Yeah, we got you covered.
Well, Wisconsin was on the field for the 5th time of spring this morning. Nose tackle Keanu Benton left practice early with what appeared to be a stinger. They've got 10 practices left this spring, and the Packers are continuing to prep for the NFL draft. That includes hosting players on visits in Green Bay. Among those visiting, Arkansas wide receiver Treylon Burks. Someone projected him as the team's first-round pick. Draft gets going April 28th. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heilprin.
Bill Michaels Show, we continue on. And I'm going to kind of change things up a little bit, go from the baseball and the football talk into the NBA chatter. And joining us now from The Athletic, the NBA analyst, and does a lot of stuff on StatsBomb, our buddy Seth Partnow now joining us on the hotline. Seth, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. It's the snow is melting here in Wauwatosa, so things are looking better than they did this morning.
So let me ask you this: the Bucks have the toughest schedule remaining, statistically speaking, with the percentage of ability to get wins and losses. Where do the Bucks where do you think they end up in the standings for the Eastern Conference, or more so, where would you want to see them end up as far as the next opponent in the Eastern Conference?
So this year is kind of weird because with Brooklyn looming as the possible 8 seed, regardless of whether you think that a team would have the advantage over Brooklyn or not, and I think that's fair to say, they're certainly more dangerous than most 8 seeds are, and you have to make it through 3 rounds of the playoffs to make the finals, and you'd much rather that first round. I think you'd rather that first round series be easier than maybe home court advantage in a later series. So I think second spot is kind of the sweet spot in the East right now. As far as where they end up, as you said, they have a pretty brutal schedule coming down the stretch. The next 5 games are all against pretty good teams. I could see them going anywhere from 5-0 to 0-5. And it's 2 games separate 4 teams for those top 2 spots. So your guess is as good as mine for where they actually shake out.
The Milwaukee Bucks pretty much back to full strength at this point. Are they the team to beat in the East, or do you feel I always get the sense like I can look at Brooklyn and say if KD gets hot, they're a tough out. I can say, if the 76ers with Harden get hot, they're going to be a tough out. Miami's pesky. And I don't know why there's a little bit of a hard swallow when it comes to Miami, but Miami seems to be, if I'm going to say the Bucks are going to struggle a little bit, it's usually against those fast, good shooting, quick-handed teams, and Miami would be one of them. Do you feel the same?
I would have, up until a few days ago, I would have said Boston was the favorite in the East, but obviously with Robert Williams' injury, that changes things entirely. Miami and Milwaukee is a really interesting potential matchup, mostly because of the way their weaknesses, as they've had over the season, have played out. Kind of since the end of kind of COVID season, mid-January, Miami is in the mid-20s. I forget exactly where in half-court offense, and the Bucks are 29th in half-court defense. So that almost more than anything else would determine who would be favored in that series.
You bring up a great point about the defense. The Bucks have been pretty good defensively over the last few years. This year, not so much. Does it change now that everybody, 1, is back, and 2, that they've got Brook Lopez back in the court as well?
Potentially. I think we haven't seen enough yet to say for certain how well Brook in particular holds up against sort of a playoff opponent who will, certainly in the early rounds of the playoffs, until he proves he can, is going to try to test his mobility. I mean, he's an enormous human being who's had back surgery, and so there's always going to be questions about his mobility. And I think every opponent they play in the playoffs is going to test that out and see how well he's moving.
What do you think as far as Giannis goes? Because there's a lot of talk about the MVP. Giannis is not going to win it, but where do you think he ends up ranking right now as far as the MVP goes?
So I participate in Tim Bontemps from ESPN straw poll, and I had Giannis second. Right now, I think Jokic is pretty far and away. I almost want to say salted it away for the year. I for second and third. I think is probably where he ends up.
I like what's going on in the East because it's so spread out. In the West, not so much. You've got basically 3-4 teams that have legitimate shots. I think Golden State, once they get healthy and Steph is back, they are legit. Dallas is solid. Memphis with Ja Morant is unbelievable. But the Phoenix Suns are far and away the best team in the West. Are we looking at another Phoenix-Milwaukee matchup, but with the real possibility of it being a different outcome this time?
I think for consistently over the course of the season, I've thought that was the most plausible or most probable finals matchup, with I think Phoenix having the edge this year. I think we've seen a little bit this year. The Bucks' depth is maybe not quite what it was, and I think given how many good wing players, good perimeter players that Phoenix can throw at you, I think that would probably be enough to tilt that in favor of Phoenix, in addition to them having home court advantage.
How big of a game is this tonight against the Nets? I mean, I know the Nets feel like they have something to prove after KD stepped his toe on the line last year and how close they were. And eventually when you get to the postseason, they want to kind of flip the switch now that Kyrie is back. But how big of a game is it tonight between these two teams?
So this is a weird season in that normally games this time of year, kind of games during the NCAA tournament period, are they may be headline making, but don't necessarily mean as much because teams are more, in this tapering towards the playoffs. But this year is different because of, as you said, that jockeying for position. So I don't know if it's a big game because of that matchup, or it's just a big game because of the Bucks probably want to make sure they at least finish second in the conference to get at least 2 rounds of home court. So it's bigger in that regard than I think it is specifically to them playing the Nets.
How much do you think that the Bucks in the postseason will miss the kind of the tenacity of PJ Tucker, if at all?
I think that if you look at an area where they are weak, it is a player who can defend bigger perimeter scores. I think both Giannis and really Holiday, Giannis, and Chris Middleton can all do it. I think all 3 of them are important enough offensively that you don't necessarily want to put those miles on the tread over the course of an entire series to ask them to do that. And so I do think, obviously, Kevin Durant is the biggest name that you would think of there. But certainly again, maybe against Boston, you might miss having a one more bigger perimeter defender, to match up with Tatum and Brown. So yeah, I think that there are matchups that he will be missed, and frankly, he'd be missed against Philly just because his physicality would be very useful against James Harden as well.
I like what Bobby Portis brings to the table. I like the fact that they've got depth. Grayson Allen can shoot. Connaughton can shoot. I like the fact that they got Serge Ibaka, even though he, is not nearly as physical, we'll say, as PJ Tucker, but he's a good inside presence. Do you feel that the depth on this team, going all the way down to like George Hill, the depth on this team is what's going to see this team through?
I actually think that's one of the bigger questions for the Bucks heading into the playoffs. I mean, I think in most scenarios we know who 3 guys on the court are going to be. In matchups where it's favorable, you have to imagine Brook Lopez will be on the court. But who fills that 5th, or in times when they want to go a little smaller, that 4th spot? I think there are not as many sort of clear answers as there were a year ago, and that's as much about the absence of Tucker as it is Connaughton coming back from injury, George Hill having been up and down a little this year. Grayson Allen maybe having some challenges defensively in a playoff setting. So that's, they have a lot of guys they can turn to, but that can either be viewed as sort of an opportunity or a challenge. And it feels to me like slightly more of a challenge for them this year.
Talking with Seth Partnow, NBA analyst at the Athletic Director of Basketball at StatsBomb as well. Coach Budenholzer, I like the fact that much like last season, when he finally, with about 11 games to go, got everybody back. Everybody was back and healthy. And up until that point, it was just a mishmash and mixing and kind of a mad scientist churning out different things when it came to defenses and covering guys and all that kind of stuff. And now you kind of hone it in. It looks like it's kind of repeating, wash and repeat when it comes to the Bucks. They get everybody back. He's mixing things up, giving guys a little bit of load management, but still these games matter. Do you like the fact that what Coach Budenholzer's done all season and leading up to this point is kind of mimicking the way they went about their business last year?
I do. I think it was forced on him a little bit more this year, just by so many players being in and out of the lineup as they were, especially the first half of the season or so. But no, I do think they have settled. I mean, I was just asking who the 5th guy on the floor is right now, based on sort of the way they've been playing recently. It's Wes Matthews, and the question there is whether, much like it was with PJ Tucker, whether he provides them enough of a threat on offense for that to be workable in playoff matchups.
I also like the way things have kind of progressed with Giannis. The free throw line, he's been better this year. The fact that his outside shooting's been better this year. Does his dynamic, we all know he's a great player, don't get me wrong, but does this change things just a little in the way you're going to guard Giannis come the postseason, because he has shown the propensity to be able to do a little bit more and be a little more versatile from the outside and not just the inside bang and dunk?
Absolutely. I think that the sort of the trump card the Bucks have is anytime they put, Giannis, Middleton, and Drew Holiday into sort of 3-man actions, any of those players can fill sort of any spot in that action. And so it's pretty easy to always come out with an advantage. So his versatility he can take the ball from the outside and create a mid-range jump shot or get to the free throw line and not necessarily worry about, missing or getting, the opposing fans counting to 10 very quickly at him. So I do think that really, that wrinkle very much increases the potential of that combination of players.
Seth, who wins the East?
Oh man, if you made me pick today, I would say the Bucks. The one caveat is if Robert Williams comes back and is playing the way he did this year, I would have picked the Celtics up until his injury. But right now, I have to say the Bucks.
Good stuff, man. I appreciate it. We'll get you back on real soon, okay?
Thanks for having me.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it. There you go. Seth Partnow. He is with The Athletic and the NBA stats analyst for StatsBomb, and just covers the NBA. Good stuff. And he's based in Tosa. Not a bad way to go. Although you're sitting there with snow and melting snow in your area right now, but you'd take it at that point. Hey, a good place to go if you're looking for Mexican. The Wrestling Taco. And if you haven't seen it, you haven't been there, you haven't joined them. They're right there in West Dallas. Really cool restaurant that was built basically from the ground up. And even though it is kind of at the end of that, strip mall there, but they have a big screen TV that you can go sit in theater seats. They have music. They mix things up. Marcus and Nicole, they've done a fantastic job. And if you want to find them, they're right there on the corner of West Lapham and 84th Street, just a couple of blocks south of the entrance to State Fair Park and Greenfield Avenue. As a matter of fact, they're like a block and a half south. So stop over and tell them we said hi. But it's the Wrestling Taco right there in West Dallas, Wisconsin. If you're looking for a place to go, maybe before or after a game, they open up at 4:00. Stop in, tell them we said hi. Great place, great fun. Have a big margarita, enjoy yourself, sit back, relax, and just enjoy the food and everything they have to offer. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
They don't repair cracked helmets, cracked teeth, or cracked stadium seats. They do repair cracked windshields. Complete Auto Glass, windshield repair and replacement, windshield camera recalibration, and more. An insurance-preferred service provider with free price quotes and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Plus, you'll be happy to know you're dealing with a local, family-owned business who understand their Wisconsin neighbors. Complete Auto Glass, repair and replacement. Visit CompleteAutoGlass.com. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Our friend Dan Dell and the whole staff over there, over at Social House, Haus. That's Social House, Haus. So, going back to, we have numerous things we've touched on today, but going back to baseball. And by the way, I wanted to give you the update when it came to our poll question. The poll question is, this would have been opening week. Do you feel the baseball season is too long? It's now 68.5% of you say yes. Over 300 votes in. If you want to find it, you can go to Bill_Michaels on Twitter. That's Bill_Michaels over on Twitter and see for yourself and chime in. Is the baseball season too long? Anyway, long story short, we got into this discussion about bringing the romance back to baseball. If you were going to change the game, okay, let me make you the commissioner for a minute. What if we're going to say, as baseball is coming upon us, there's excitement for Brewers baseball. There's excitement to get back to American Family Field. There's excitement to see the Brewers win the division, all that kind of stuff. What would you do if you were going to change the game to make it more fan-friendly and or more enjoyable for yourself as well as the casual fan? You tell me. What would you do? 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. 877-867-1670. I think, not that we're sitting here solving all the world's problems today in the world of baseball, but if you were going to change something, what would it be? What would it be? I'd love to know. Right away, Mark says shorter games. Mark, how are you going to shorten up the game? If you were going there for a short game, you're not enjoying it. You're not a fan of baseball. I love the game. Suppose the game's a 7-5 game with some pitching changes, strategy, and the game's 3 hours and 10 minutes. Is that boring to you? Ben, what do you think?
I have 4 bullet points that I've been workshopping for a long time. Number 1, and this is my $1 million idea, I want to move all of the fences back at least 30 feet, maybe 40 feet. Because the most exciting play in baseball is the gapper down the line or up the middle where the guy's running to third and there's a play at third base. It's more entertaining than someone just hitting it over the fence easily and he trots around the bases. So that's number 1.
Okay.
Fewer home runs, players become better hitters, and the actual plays would be more. I mean, we get to watch Prince Fielder try to hit inside the park home runs. That's the most electric thing in baseball. More dollar dog nights, but that's kind of on the side. Right. That would be more of an ownership thing. I want to restrict the shift. So you have 2 defenders on each side of second base with a foot in the dirt, and that's it. You can move them however much you want aside from
Okay.
that, but no more infielders in the outfield. And the blackout market thing with MLB TV has to end tomorrow. I'm done with it.
Yeah.
You should be able to watch Brewers games on MLB TV.
That I would agree with. I know they do it because they want the they want the local advertising to be paid to Bally's. I get it. But I don't, how do I put this? I agree with you. They have to work it out. They're so dysfunctional in that way, with the individual markets owning the individual rights to the individual advertising that they, I don't know how specifically to do it, but I agree. Just lift the damn ban. Just lift it. Not that everybody's going to suddenly roll over to MLB TV and make it happen in that sense, but I don't, I don't know what the hell to change in that aspect. They just got to figure that out. I agree with you. And the other thing is, how are you going to draw fans if you can't see it in your home state? That's what I don't understand. People in lacrosse, people in Eau Claire, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you are in Eau Claire or lacrosse, is the only way to watch Brewers baseball is if you have cable Spectrum. I
think so.
Is that it?
I think there's a way. Now I don't have cable. I'm sure there's a way to find Bally online somewhere, but it's impossible compared to just like I pay for MLB TV. But I think that lacrosse and all of the towns around Wisconsin are included in the Brewers quote media market for the MLB.
Okay. Yeah, if you live in those areas, let me know. Let me know, because I want to find out exactly what you can and can't see. I get it all the time that people that had cut the cable a while ago can't stream the games anymore. You can't find them. So I'm trying to figure out. So the only way you can watch the game, a Brewers game, if you're out of the Milwaukee area. And even in Milwaukee, I mean, I think the only way you can watch it is if you have Spectrum. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think having Hulu, you can watch it. I might be wrong. You can watch it on DirecTV. My buddy Ernie Betts is telling me out in Viroqua. But you can't stream the Brewers on many of the Roku channels and such. Okay. And long story short is, the only way to get it is via cable, I guess, in some way, shape, or form. That or DirecTV. You cannot stream the Brewers in Eau Claire. No Brewers games in Eau Claire unless you have the cable providers. Okay. Well,
Ebo is also telling me that no Hulu Live and Rowdy does not get it on DirecTV. It's impossible.
My buddy Ernie is saying that in Viroqua, they get it on DirecTV.
Huh.
Oh, okay. We're not solving the world's problems here, but in Eau Claire, the only way is if you have Bally's or if it's on ESPN, but that's almost never.
Maybe the beauty of me wanting to eliminate the blackout market thing is I wouldn't be the one figuring it out.
Right.
I just want it gone.
Exactly.
I don't want to do logistics. I just want to give ideas.
I'm getting a lot of people chiming in on Twitter as well. Bally is on Spectrum, and I'm certain DirecTV does as well. Dish Network does not. So Kenny, you're saying Dish Network does not carry the Brewers games. Drake says, I can't cut the cable because you can't stream online anymore. Unless you have cable. Now, answer me this. Here's a question. Because I have 4 cable boxes in my house, 2 of which are DVRs. One in my office and another one in my bedroom. Just if I want to lay up and watch a game and make some notes and that kind of thing. So I have Spectrum cable, but I also have a big, huge bandwidth of Spectrum internet. If you have just Spectrum internet, can you stream the Spectrum app? Because you can watch it on the Spectrum app, that I know. But if you have just Spectrum internet and not cable can you stream the games because you are still going through your internet provider being Spectrum. Dish Network dropped it. I have YouTube and I can't get Bally's on YouTube anymore. This one says I still use the Yuzu app, UZZU, and he said he gets every Major League Baseball game, including the Brewers. I have no idea about that. So anyway, we're getting real deep into this. You can do DirecTV. Yes, you need an account in Eau Claire to link it to. Roku will work, but again, you need the account. So, okay, it's much like I have here. Like I stream, I've got 14 TVs in the house or around, outside and inside. And most of them are on streaming, but I can stream them because I have a Spectrum account. So I get where you're coming from. So in other words, and you can't do it on the Major League Baseball app. You can't do it on Dish. You can't do it on Roku. You can't do it on YouTube. They cut all of that out. It's gone. The only way to do it is through a provider that actually carries Bally's. That's where we're at. Okay, I got you. Got you. Thank you very much. You cleared it up for me. You cleared it up. Steve says, I live in Chippewa Falls. That's fine with me. Much rather listen to Bob Uecker. Well, but what happens when Ueck's not there anymore? Are you just, don't get me wrong. I love the fact that you want to catch it on the radio. Love it. Love it. But what happens when Ueck isn't there anymore? If you're listening just for Uecker, first of all, he's not traveling the way he used to, if at all. And there's certain games that he's not doing anymore. I mean, Ueck's getting up there, man. Still sounds good, but he's getting up there. One day he's going to call it quits. Then what? Then what? 877-867-1670. So going back to, you would lift the ban on blackouts. Okay. You would go back to some of the dollar hot dog days and stuff like that. Some of the fun days at the ballpark. What else was the other two, Ben?
Well, one is the shift.
The shift.
Two infielders on either side of second, 1 foot in the dirt.
Okay.
You can move them around however much. My biggest idea is all the fences have to move back 40 feet.
Okay. And the fences go back 40 feet. Now, I wouldn't do that. But
it would take away all this swinging for the fences stuff. People would learn how to be better hitters. And then you get a lot more balls in the gap where chaos ensues. And then you really see who's good at baseball. You see if they can hit the cutoff man. You get a guy like Prince Fielder, as I said, hitting triples. Be electric.
Yeah. Okay.
You don't agree?
No, I get it. And that's the reason that some of these ballparks, much like American Family Field, has the center field indentation. They want to see the ball ricochet around, maybe a double become a triple, a single become a double. But also it gives you the long ball aspect, because there is the home run derby is the reason people tune in basically to the All-Star, the pregame festivities. It's a home run derby. They love it. It's the problem is that the sabermetrics have gotten so involved in the grip it and rip it mentality that the art of the game has been lost. I agree with you there. If you push the fences back 10 feet, you would accomplish a lot of what you're thinking. Just 10 feet. Instead of going from 325 down the line, you go 335. Raise them up 6 feet. Have a lot more balls bouncing off the wall, and seeing that type of competition than you would see balls flying out of the ballpark. And real power hitters then become more prevalent.
I would like to see the fences back. And then also every ballpark should have a mound like the Astros used to have in center field. So when the center fielder is running back to catch it, he just hits the mound and falls down, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, you know what they fashioned that off of, right?
No.
Yeah, it was Crosley Field in Cincinnati. It's the exact same outfield. Before Riverfront Stadium, there was a place called Crosley Field. It was at the base of the hill. I grew up there, and I never went. I think my mom took me once when I was a baby, but I don't remember it. All I remember is Riverfront Stadium. But that was Crosley Field. Crosley Field had, it was up against an industrial area, And they had to shoehorn that in. They couldn't put the flagpole for the American flag. They couldn't put it beyond the fence because it butted up against industrial sites. And there was a cable car, because back in the day, you didn't have the roadway and the infrastructure you had. So there was a cable car that used to ride on an angle, so it was level, but it would ride up and down the hill. That was called Price Hill. And it would go up and down the hill and drop people off just out there beyond the fence. And that was that area. They had to put the cable car in, the industrial areas in. So that little rise, that grade was there to meet the backside of the cable car and the industrial area. But that's what it was. They had to leave it in as a part of the aesthetic of the ballpark because there wasn't any room. So they just basically wrapped the fence around the flagpole and called it a day. And that was the nuance of Crosley Field. And that was
sounds electric.
It was, I mean, hey, I my grandfather used to tell me about it all the time. About all Crosley Field, going there on a business. My grandfather worked at a brewery called Hudipole Brewery. And when they would get tickets as a group to be able to go to, quote, the businessman special back in the day, and guys would come to work. Normally you're in your overalls and you're working on the line, or you're tapping, you're kegging beers or whatever. That's what my grandfather did. And he said, man, you couldn't wait to take your overalls off because you were wearing your suit. So you'd jump on the bus and then you'd go down, because Hudipole Brewing was only about 10 blocks away. You'd jump on the bus and the bus would drop you off at Crosley Field. You'd go to the game, you'd have a few beers, and then you go back to work and you'd finish up whatever was left of your shift. And then you'd, go back home, but you did it in your suit for the businessman special. Or if the game went beyond your work shift, you would then take the trolley outside of center field, back up the hill to Price Hill to catch the bus to go home. So a little bit of history there, a little bit of a lesson. Stay tuned. We got a lot. We went way long. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Catch all the racing action at Road America. Camping and corporate events available as well. Go to roadamerica.com for all the information. Road America, America's national park of speed.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Phil Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Phil Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Phil Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
So my buddy Justin, who lives up in the Wausau area, was telling me, he said he does not, if I'm reading this correctly, I got to go back to this. Said, I have just Spectrum Internet, not cable TV, and yes, I can stream the games on the Bally's app by logging into my Spectrum account. If I try logging into another app with my Spectrum account, like ESPN app, etc., those apps will somehow know I don't have cable TV subscription and deny the access, but Bally's either doesn't know or doesn't care. But if you have the Spectrum internet system, then you're good to go. So there you go. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Our friends over at New Mal Medical, they know what's going on. If you got some issues, whether it's ED, low T, or maybe, just maybe, you've got some weight issues, you want to kind of look better, feel better, get a little more fit, they can help you out. All you got to do is call New Mal Medical, 414-455-4451. That's 414-455-4451. They have a 98% success rate of helping out guys with ED. If by chance you have the low T issue, if you're over the age of 30 and you're just sluggish and moody and just ready to go to sleep damn near every day in the middle of the day, just go in and get your numbers checked. It doesn't take long, maybe 10, 15 minutes. That's it. You're good to go. Or if you just want to look better and feel better because you're just putting on weight and T-shirt season's right around the corner and you're like, man, I can't do this anymore. Call them, 414-455-4451, 414-455-4451. ESPN Steve says that Justin never got a new bike. He did. He got a beautiful new Road Glide. And instead of being the Packer bike, he has gone to the Jack Daniels 7 bike. If I'm not mistaken, if that's the number. Old number 7. So, yes, he did. Done a lot to it, as a matter of fact, too. What else do we have here for you? Let's see. Let's do this. Let's go to Nathan. Nathan, welcome to the program, man. What's going on? Nathan. He dropped. Nathan dropped. Daniel. Let's go to Daniel, listening to us out in Toma. Daniel, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, my biggest thing about baseball, I would start the World Series playoffs in August, Labor Day. I think it goes nobody wants to watch or play in the snow. In these stadiums that have the cold weather, I think a lot of people stay away. Don't you think? Double headers during the season.
Yep.
To put your games in, and then this is a summer sport. Even in softball that we do locally, ain't professionals. We wrap it up around Labor Day.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of that?
Daniel,
instead of going all the way to October.
Right. No, I've said I don't want to see because baseball being played into the first week in November is a joke. I would have it done by maybe at the latest the second week of October. So go through September, but have your playoffs begin like the second week of September and get to the the World Series by maybe the first to second week of October. And then don't go past that. But that would be shortening the season up by about 2.5, 3 weeks. And I don't know necessarily how to do that. 5 games, you could play 5 doubleheaders in a season. The problem is that the owners aren't going to want to lose money. They're not going to want to lose that money. So the question then becomes, when do they go ahead and make that money back up? Well, the first thing they're going to do is raise ticket prices because you and I are going to pay for it because of the exorbitant salaries that are all guaranteed in Major League Baseball, which I think suck, but that's another topic for another day. So now what you would have to say is do 5 doubleheaders, 1 doubleheader a month. That's it. But you have to make it a day night. So one game would start at, say, noon or 1, and then it ends. You clear the stadium out. The problem is you got to get everybody back in for game 2 because the games, as people, our attention spans are like, gnats at this point. Not baseball fans, but the casual fan. They don't want to sit through 2 games of 9 innings. I don't like shortening games either. I think it skews the statistics. I think it skews wins and losses. I don't like it. So what do? So then you go with day night. You go with a game at noon and you go with a game at 7 o'clock at night. And that way you've got time to switch them over. You've got the evening people that come in and they can still do a little tailgating or whatever ahead of the game and still be able to go do their thing. You clear the lots out. You open the lots up 3 hours ahead of time, both ends. And maybe you do it that way and you still save yourself some money. And players will just have to understand that on a Sunday or on a Saturday that they're going to have a couple of double headers, 1 doubleheader a month. I guess that would be the only way to do it. And you still can save a little bit of money and shorten the season somewhat. But I still think at some point you're going to have to just plop some games off. The 162 game season, as much as I enjoy it because I love it on in the background. If I'm not at every game, I love it on in the background. I'm sitting out at the patio. I love it. Driving in the car. I love it. Down to the bar. I love it. It's on my headset. I'm out riding the tractor, cutting grass. I love it. You're out in the bar on a weekend. You're looking at it on a Saturday night. You're in a sports bar. You're having dinner. You're sitting at the bar. You're having some drink. You got it on in the background. I love it. I love that. But actually for the game itself, by the time it gets to the World Series, we're already into football, man. You're like, come on. November 1st and you're playing baseball? Come on. We're talking about Thanksgiving, about college football rivalries at that point, BCS, all that stuff. We're not talking baseball. Come on. Let's do this. Take a quick break. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Hey, Grill, we've missed you. What a better way to treat an old grill friend than by cooking up some tender, juicy 5-ounce bacon-wrapped pork fillets. Oh, man, now just 99 cents each at Quick Trip with a limit of 5. Hey, you've got some serious grill time to make up, and bacon-wrapped pork fillets will warm up every grill's heart. So turn the heat up on your grill mats with 5-ounce bacon-wrapped pork fillets from Quick Trip. Quick Trip. Yeah, we got you covered.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Glad you are with us. Brad, not a lot of commercials. It's just that I went really, really, really long in the last segment, so we had to back them up against one another. So no, same amount. It's really not a lot. It's the same amount of commercials we've had since the day we went on the air, and in all of my years, it's the exact same amount per hour. So if it seems like it, it's only because we butted them up against one another. Sorry about that. 877-867-1670. But I do need to mention our friends at Dwayne's Cover It All. I just had somebody reach out to me and talking to me about my boat. My boat engine, I'm getting a new engine put in my boat at Skipper Bud's. And Dwayne did a fantastic job on the cover and on the interior. And I'm just putting a new engine in the boat. And it still is not in. And it's not, Skipper Bud's fault. It's I'm getting a new Volvo engine put in it because that's what was in it before. And I just wanted to upgrade. And it's still not in. I'm still waiting. It was supposed to be here like 3 weeks ago. Now they're telling me it's going to be another month, which is okay because I really don't need it till June. But it's just kind of starting to create some anxiety. However, what does not create anxiety is my buddy Dwayne at Dwayne's Cover It All up in Wausau, the best canvas and upholstery and boat cover provider. And if you're, say, an office and you want to redo your furniture rather than going out and leasing or buying all new, get it done that way. He can do it. 715-870-2119. 715-870-2119. And check out all the work that he does at Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. I just saw that he did some stuff for, I think it was the Blood Center. Their chairs with those fold-out arms for your arm to go on it when they're pumping the blood out of your arm. He just did all the recovering of those chairs, if I'm not mistaken. Go to Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com, 715-870-2119. And talking about my buddy Todd and Ryan, the service manager at Skipper Bud's, they're getting a lot of boats that are coming in. My engine's not in yet, but the boats are coming in. So if you're looking for a new boat, by all means, get a hold of them, 262-544-1200, 262-544-1200. Ask for Todd. He's the GM, or ask for Ryan in service. And even if you call Ryan and go, hey, where's Bill's engine? What the hell? That's not his fault. It's Volvo's fault. So it'll get in eventually, but you get the point. This one is from Jake, who says, I would love to see the dollar hot dog days come back. I agree with Ben. Ben, another guy calling in for the chiming in for the dollar hot dog days.
I mean, aside from the heartbreak I suffered as a child loving baseball, the things I remember are one towel I got in 2007 that I still have, and paying $1 for a hot dog. It was why I would go to games at times in high school. It's like, oh, $1 hot dogs, let's go.
The hot dogs at American Family Field now, it's not the Clements Racing Sausages anymore. They're just the racing sausage. They're Johnsonville, right? I didn't even, what hot dogs do they have? Because does Johnsonville make hot dogs? I thought Johnsonville was just brats.
I don't know.
We need investigation now. What kind of hot dog? You don't walk up to somebody from the Brewers and go, hey, what kind of hot dog do you have? It's a loaded question even on a Friday night. But yeah, I don't think Johnsonville serves hot dogs. I could be wrong. If they do, please correct me. What kind of hot dogs do they have? 877-867-1670. You can hit me up if you know that one. But I don't know what it is. And this is from Tanisha. Tanisha, 100% agree. She says, I don't know what it is, but hot dogs taste better when you pull them out of that paper wrapper at the ballpark. You can never get that taste at home. I agree. I don't know what it. Now, I like grilling hot dogs. I love grilling hot dogs. Okay? Without a doubt. Love grilling. And there's a certain flavor to the grill. Okay? That too. But I don't know what. Oh, okay. They use Clements. Clements hot dogs. So the Brewers fans are still enjoying Clements hot dogs. They're just not the Clements Racing Sausages. The brats in Miller Park are Johnsonville. There you go. Okay. I didn't think Johnsonville made hot dogs. Mark says, I thought you were a Usinger guy. I am. Johnsonville I like, and Usingers. I love Usingers, man. Usinger hot dogs are fantastic. And believe it or not, when I'm grilling at home, if I don't have a pack of Usingers, I usually have Ballpark Franks. I like Ballpark Franks because then not only do they plump when you cook them, but they explode and they get that crisp grilling on there. And then, yeah, you're loading it up. You got a little relish and a little mustard and a little ketchup and then a beer. And oh my God, sit out back, watch a game on the tube. There is not much better than that. There is not much better. And the worst part about it is they are so good. Now, it's going to be different this year. And I've said this before. When I go out and I make stuff outside and the dogs aren't with me because I don't have Mickey and Elmo anymore. And because normally I used to make the whole pack. And then Mickey and Elmo would get hot dogs too. We would all eat together. So it's going to be weird this year because I'm only going to make a couple. Because I used to make the whole pack. And then I would always feel guilty because if I eat like 2 or 3, I mean, like, okay, now I got to stop, but you could eat those things forever. And I'd give the rest to the dogs. So the dogs would eat good, But yeah. So I don't know what I'm going to do this year.
I want to do an economic deep dive to see what the profit margins would be if every Brewers game was $1 dog day. And how many more people would come, but how much money they would lose on hot dog sales.
Okay.
I'm not actually going to do it, but I would love someone to do it. And then I read it.
We need an economist to map out the cost narrative on the hot dog at Miller Park or at American Family Field. That's what we need. We need
to crowdsource all of my work.
We need to outsource to a economist to come on the program and be able to talk to us about the economic impact of the hot dog at American Family Field. If you gave them away for $1, how much technically are the Brewers losing? And would that entire cost cover, say, Josh Hader's salary? Because otherwise, if you're biting into a hot dog for instead of $1 for $2, what would it mean? $3, what would it mean? What are the hot dogs at American Family Field? Like $5, $6, something like that? I don't even know what the costs are. Guess I should look into that too, huh? It's really weird because this is what I do as I go to the concession stand. I want a beer, and I usually go down to the craft beer place, but I want a beer, and then I go over and I get a couple of brats or a hot dog and a pretzel, and then I go sit down. So whatever that total is, I've never looked at it to break it down before. I got a good analogy here from Matthew too, who just hit me up. The Sloan Kettle, 1806 over there on Twitter. I'll get into that coming up in just a few. Stay tuned. We got another hour of this meandering, this just mental craptastic rambling of yours truly. Now I'm hungry for a hot dog. More after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Bucks are in Brooklyn. It's where they'll take on the Nets tonight. Another important matchup for playoff seeding. Milwaukee sitting in second place in the Eastern Conference, one game back of Miami and just one game up on Philadelphia and Boston. Whoever ends up getting the top seed may have to play Brooklyn in the first round. They currently hold the number 8 seed, but are still considered the betting favorites to win the conference with a healthy Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving able to now play both home and away games after New York dropped its vaccine mandate. The Bucks have won 7 of the last 10 games coming in. Tip is set for 6:30. Turn to the Badgers. All-American Johnny Davis can announce his decision this afternoon on whether he will turn pro or return to Wisconsin for another year. The Wooden Horn finalist is expected to leave for the NBA draft. Many have projected him as a lottery pick after being named Big Ten Player of the Year and leading the Badgers to a share of the Big Ten title. Meanwhile, Brewers were 4-2 losers at the Padres out at spring training yesterday. They'll take on the Angels today. Opening day in Chicago against the Cubs, now just 1 week away.
Want to save even more at Fleet Farm? Well, now you can with Fleet Rewards. It's free to sign up and there's no credit card required. Using Fleet Rewards is easy. Earn points every time you shop. Plus, get exclusive member offers, birthday and anniversary perks, free tire rotations, and more. Download the Fleet Farm app or create an account at fleetfarm.com/rewards to start earning points today. Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955.
Well, Wisconsin was on the field for the 5th time of spring this morning. Nose tackle Keanu Benton left practice early with what appeared to be a stinger. They've got 10 practices left this spring, and the Packers are continuing to prep for the NFL draft. That includes hosting players on visits in Green Bay. Among those visiting, Arkansas wide receiver Treylon Burks. Some have projected him as the team's first-round pick. Draft gets going April 28th. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heilprin.
Oh, God. Oh, these are so good. Oh, my goodness. You know what I'm talking about. The kind where after you get done eating them, you're like, I think I need to go change my pants. Yes. Those kind of cheese curds. 100% correct.
I got to go take something.
Imodium. Then again, after eating a bunch of cheese curds, you don't have to take anything. You know? 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Robbie says, 100% agree. I don't understand why hot dogs at the ballpark taste different than the ballpark hot dogs at home, but they're good. Maybe there's, again, going back to the world of romance, maybe there's something in your head that tells you this is the way it's supposed to be. Robbie also says, for whatever reason, I can also eat them in 2 bites, whereas at home I savor them. Yeah, the ones at the ballpark, it's a bite, plonk, gone. Sam says, wasn't sure what they have for lunch today, but you and Ben talking about hot dogs, maybe stop at Quick Trip and grab a Ballpark Frank. Well, there you go. 2 things. One, you had a hot dog. Don't you feel a little bit better? You're thinking a little baseball. Things are starting to melt outside after today's craptastic weather. Okay. But also, you supported Quick Trip. There's not much more that I can ask beyond that.
I think we just saved the sport.
Right? Hopefully, Mark Atanasio is listening. He's streaming us right now out there at American Family Fields of Phoenix. Streaming it. This one is from Mark. Mark says, thinking of ways to change baseball. I don't agree of outlawing the shift. I think baseball players need to adapt. The fact that guys can't hit to the opposite side of the field is a complete joke. Take guys like Pete Rose, Ty Cobb, Kirby Puckett. They could all hit to anywhere in the ballpark. They were pros. Today's pros are not. Mark, I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to say it being ashamed of myself. Okay? So let me preface this. I'm going to say this being ashamed of myself. What you said, I 100% agree with, and yet that's an old school way of thinking. It completely is counterintuitive on both sides of the fence for myself. On one hand, I agree with you. Players today, they grip it and rip it. That's it. They don't know how to play the game. But as I say that, and those words come out of my mouth, I can hear anybody under the age of 40, 35 going, oh, that's old school. Well, you sound old. Well, it's not old. It's just that I understand the game, the nuances of the game. But Ben, does that make sense to you?
No, because the pitchers back then, when Ty Cobb was playing baseball, threw 83, topped out at maybe 85. These guys are throwing 100 with movement. I think there's a reason Joey Gallo can't go the opposite field, because pitchers are so great at putting the ball in places that he can't do it.
Mm-hmm. Good point. Good point. But hitters never adapted over time. That's the problem I have. That also could be true. As pitchers got bigger and stronger, have more snap to it, they have more analytics. So does hitting. And if you've ever seen the hitting lab out at American Family Fields of Phoenix, it gives you anything and everything, every statistic, every percentage, every angle. I mean, everything. How hitting did not adapt to pitching over a period of time, I have no idea. It wasn't like all of a sudden we woke up one day and Greg Maddux went from throwing 89 with movement to 102 with movement. You just started seeing more and more and more athletes that could throw over 90, and it went from 92 to 93 to 94 is the norm. Right now, it's like 93. If you can throw 93 pretty consistently and keep it there, with a little bit of movement, you can be a pretty good pitcher for a long period of time in the National League, or in the major leagues for that matter. I'm sorry, major leagues. And the Aroldis Chapmans of the world, the one problem they have is they can throw 109 miles an hour, but they don't have consistent control. And if you just start to get around on them, you're going to hit them far. I mean, real far. And they found that out. And those guys usually do not last. It's the guys that can throw 91, 92 with movement that are going to have a lot of longevity because they have that ability to go inside, outside, and paint the corners and all that kind of stuff. I agree with you. But when you are looking at a fastball that's 94 miles an hour and trying to see if it's inside or outside or has break or has the ability to get outside so you can then slap it the opposite direction. I get it. What they do is pitchers pitch you inside, which is where your strength is, but then they put on the shift. So therefore, it forces you to hit the ball in that direction, and you don't have sometimes the ability to go the opposite way. So I see both sides of this. I really do. I see both sides of this. And it leads me, much like going back to my original answer, it leads me to say trying to hit the ball all over the park is an old school way of thinking because of the change in pitching. I don't like it. I don't agree with it. But it is what it is.
I do think the game's best hitters are clearly still able to do that. You look at Mike Trout. He can hit it out of the park anywhere. He could do anything with any pitch. I think where you really see the change is in the fringe guys who are like, okay, I need to hit 25 homers to make it.
Right.
Like, they will sign me to a contract if I walk, hit homers, and strike out, and that's okay.
Right.
But with the best hitters, you still see they could do whatever they want. Mookie Betts
Sure.
can hit it wherever he wants.
Right. Yeah, some hitters are good at that. But I'll say this, there's a lot of hitters that don't even practice that. They don't even try. So some of that is on them. Now, a guy like Kyle Schwarber, he's a grip it and rip it guy. He's a home run guy. That's it. And they're going to do anything and everything they can. I liked when, like, Ryan Braun, and I know that might not be the best of, scenarios to bring up, but in recent history, Braun, when he was on, he could hit a pitch anywhere. When he was on, he would hit a ball anywhere. He could hit it low and away. He could hit it up and in. He could hit it down at the knees, across the plate. Didn't matter. And when he was on, just seeing the baseball, he could hit it anywhere. And that was always what made Ryan Braun so good, because you couldn't just play him in the shift, because when he was on, he was hitting the ball to the opposite field. And there was a period of time where his power came to the opposite field, where he was hitting balls out of the ballpark to the opposite field. So, I love that, because you never knew where he was going to take the baseball. But I agree with you that it's changed quite a bit.
It also could be overcorrections where, we see when Moneyball started, we start to overvalue maybe home runs and walks.
Yeah.
And then we go crazy in that direction. And now they'll probably go crazy in the other direction to realize the benefits of doing it Ryan Braun's way or anyone's way. And then finally, when it's all right, we'll find somewhere in the middle in like 40 years when I'm close to dead.
Speaking of baseball, did you see Brian Cashman in an interview yesterday with The Athletic got upset because of the, quote, drought of World Series regarding the Yankees since 2009? Did you see that? Where he cited the 2017 team that lost in the ALCS to the Astros, who were eventually sanctioned by Major League Baseball. He said, we should have won. The only thing that stopped the Yankees was something that was so illegal and horrific. So I get offended when I start hearing that we haven't been to a World Series since 2009. Because I'm like, well, I think we actually did it the right way. Pulled it down, brought it back up, drafted well, traded well, developed well, signed well. The only thing that derailed us was a cheating circumstance that threw us off. He's blaming the cheating on the Houston Astros. Again, it resurfaces, rearing its ugly head from the 2017 season. And he gets offended when people say that the Yankees haven't been there since 2009. Brian Cashman dipping back into they cheated their way to the Fall Classic. I like that.
Did it the right way.
Yeah. Yep. The Yankees have reached the playoffs every year since 2017 to Houston, but have not advanced beyond the ALCS and have won only one American League East division title over that stretch. The last trip to the Fall Classic, 2009, when they beat.
Not answering that.
I know. I was waiting. They beat the Philadelphia Phillies for their 27th championship in franchise history. There you go. I only brought that up because Brian Cashman was so offended by a question posed to him. It's like, come on. Get over it. 877-867-1670, 1670. You want to hit us up, feel free to go ahead and do so. Again, 877-867-1670. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends over at the Water Doctors. Best Connecticut water softening system, best I've ever had. By far, best I've ever had. I talk about it all the time. If you're looking for a water softening system, or you want to do something great for veterans and make a donation to the Custom Canines Service Dog Academy, do it at H2, the letter O, doctors.com. H2, the letter O, doctors.com. Get a hold of John Atley. He's the owner over there. And if you want a new water softening system and you want to try it out or get your water tested for free, call him, 262-549-7733. 262-549-7733. Hang in there. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Your race tickets await at Road America, the Moto America Superbikes, IndyCar, NASCAR, and so much more. Go to roadamerica.com for your tickets right now. Road America, America's national park of speed.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
are going to be solid. As long as they stay healthy, I believe the Brewers are going to be solid. I'm saying 94 wins. Now, he also goes on to write Willy Adames, the shortstop for the Brewers. The Brewers knew they were getting a good player in Willy Adames last year when they acquired him from Tampa Bay for Drew Rasmussen and the pitcher J.P. Fireisen. They didn't realize that in less than a year, he'd be the clear leader inside the clubhouse. Adames is the sort of player Milwaukee surely would love to lock up long-term, with Lorenzo Cain's deal expiring after the season. The only money the Brewers have committed is to Christian Yelich at $26 million a year through 2028 and Freddie Peralta on a dirt cheap extension. Adames is on pace to hit free agency after 2024 when he'll be 29 years old. So the urgency to keep him in Milwaukee is only increasing. Look for them to get some kind of a deal done. There you go. A lot of talk about the Brewers. I like that. Not much talk about. Now there are some players on other teams, even bad teams, but they're looking for, hey, like Mike Trout, he's healthy this year. People tend to forget about him as being the best player in baseball, but he's had some nagging injuries, calf injuries specifically, that have hurt him. He's now 30 years old, so theoretically, as a baseball player, he's on the back end of his career. But don't believe that he's going to all of a sudden just fall off the face of the earth, without a doubt. So there's some things there for baseball wise, for things to think about. But I like the fact that there's a lot of talk about the Brewers, a lot of talk about their run, what they should be able to do this season. Everybody pretty much is, for the most part anyway, is picking them to either win or come close to winning their division, but to definitely be in the postseason regardless. So I like all of that. I still think they're going to win the division. There wasn't much done. If their offense even comes close to performing to what the expectation is, they're going, and their pitching staff holds up, they're going to win a lot of games. By all means. By the way, tomorrow on the program, we're going to talk some football with Rob Reichel, and our baseball buddy Kevin Holden is going to be back tomorrow, and we're going to see how many guys we can line up to join us live and in person down at Stenny's 2 weeks from today. 2 weeks from today. 2 weeks from today. Early in the morning to come on down, join us for a couple of Bloody Marys and some wings, and then take off down to the ballpark and watch the Brewers on the home opener at American Family Field, which is a 4:10 start or 4:14 or something like that? Yeah, 4:14, 414. That's what it is, as the date and the area code for Milwaukee, as a matter of fact, on the 414. Looking forward to that. 877-867-1670. Kirk Slayer over on Twitter says, the way I would change baseball is to not allow the DH, make all leagues now National League style of baseball. I would love it. I think as a baseball purist, you would love it. What they're trying to do is to take the strategy and the delays and the pitching changes and such out of baseball, because today's day and age is all about getting it done quickly, giving you as much as they can, as fast as they can. Short of the pitch clock and the walk-up clock, it's really pretty simple. There's a couple of things you could do, and I think you would take time off the game. One would specifically be the pitch clock, and the other one would be the instant replay. Those two things alone, I think would speed the game up. Mark says, what do you think about Tyrone Taylor's spring training thus far? He's been lighting it up. I'll tell you this. I just saw a post, as a matter of fact, from the Brewers over on Twitter for the Brewers Unfiltered podcast with Adam McCalvey and company, and they talk about that as well. I just saw that post maybe just a few seconds ago. But Tyrone Taylor, a guy that kind of got shoved to the backside when they picked up Andrew McCutchen, right? You got Renfroe, you got Kane, you got Yelich, now you got McCutchen. And then Tyrone Taylor's on the back end of that now. He continually falls back down the depth chart. But he's having a hell of a spring. A hell of a spring. And that does not even, even begin, it overshadows the kind of spring that you should be excited about if you're a Keston Hiura fan and looking at him trying to come back and play better and actually hit the ball because he has had a good spring training. Keston Hiura has been playing extremely well. So, I mean, there's a lot of excitement there. A lot of excitement. Tyrone Taylor, though, he's in 18. Now, he doesn't lead the team in at-bats, but he's got 18 at-bats hitting .444 with 3 home runs. He's been really good. The fact that McCutchen has come on, he's hitting .417. Keston Hiura is hitting .400 with 20 at-bats. He also has 3 home runs, by the way. McCutchen, in 8 less at-bats to Hiura, has only 1 less homer. But Keston Hiura has the most total bases for the Brewers this season, this spring training. 7 strikeouts, 2 walks. You go down to Christian Yelich, he's hitting at least 300. He's got 20 at-bats, 6 hits, a couple of doubles. He does not have a home run. Does not have a home run. 4 strikeouts, 1 walk on the spring training season. But again, I say this with a lot of caution because pitchers don't progress as fast as hitters. Pitchers are working on just hitting the corner. Get it inside, get it outside. A lot of fastballs, not as much breaking stuff unless you're working on a new pitch. Pitchers will try to do things they don't normally do. They'll get behind in the count. They'll have to come to with a fastball or something out over the plate. They get hit. Usually the pitching statistics and the batting statistics flip-flop when you get to the regular season because things are different. So I'm excited, but it's tempered. I've just learned over the years when you see somebody really, really, really perform well in spring training, that doesn't necessarily equate to what kind of season they're going to have when it comes to the regular season. The poll question of the day. And since this would be opening week and we're looking out the window right now, we see snow all over the ground with a couple of inches of snow as it continues to melt. But do you feel the baseball season is too long? Now with over 350 votes, 68.7% of you say yes. You feel that the baseball season is indeed too long. 31.3% saying no. There you go. 877-867-1670. You can hit us up. 877-867-1670. Hey, I got to say hi to our friends, Ryan and the gang at Curly's Waterfront Pub and Grill right there in Pewaukee. Once the summer gets here, sit outside. Look at the lake. Watch the boats go by. You're good to go. But for right now, it's got that indoor Wisconsin cabin-esque feeling. Stop out, tell the gang we said hi. Try the pig porker, the big pig porker sandwich they have out there. And I have not had it, to be honest with you. I hear it's great, but they promote the hell out of it. Their pizzas, their wraps, they're all good. A lot of good times out there. A lot of great place. It's a great place to go and watch games. Good sports bar. They put entertainment in there on the weekend. Check out our friends at a Curly's Waterfront Pub and Grill on Pewaukee Lake in the area. Stop in, tell them we said hi. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Hey, Grill, we've missed you. What a better way to treat an old grill friend than by cooking up some tender, juicy 5-ounce bacon-wrapped pork fillets. Oh, man, now just 99 cents each at Quick Trip with a limit of 5. Hey, you've got some serious grill time to make up, and bacon-wrapped pork fillets will warm up every grill's heart. So turn the heat up on your grill mats with 5-ounce bacon-wrapped pork fillets from Quick Trip. Quick Trip. Yeah, we got you covered.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
You got to hit it back.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show. If you're looking for some great places to go, maybe catch a game, good old-fashioned fish fry on a Friday night, Sloppy Joe's and Smoke on the Water. Sloppy Joe's in Hubertus, and that is the epitome of what a Wisconsin bar should be. And that place is fantastic. Joe and Ellen Hennis have done such a great job. And then they took the old Bayside, which is now called Smoke on the Water out on Okauchee Lake, and they have expanded that and made that a show place as well. And two fantastic places, specifically for Smoke on the Water in the summertime. When you want to go out there, talk about sitting on a deck and watching the boats go by. Man, what a great place. So check out either one, Sloppy Joe's or Smoke on the Water. both with great food, both with great barbecue too. But fish fries, breakfasts, all that good stuff. Check them both out for sure. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, by all means do so. Let's go back to the phone calls, talk to Dave. Dave, welcome to the program, man. What's going on?
Yeah, Bill, love your show.
Thank you.
Say, these owners are so hypocritical. I mean, before the COVID, they wanted to increase the spring training games to 40 games, which is really crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I've been down to both Cactus League and down at Florida. Secondly, they're adding teams to the playoffs, which makes it longer. And the games last longer in the American League by 14 to 15 minutes, I think the figure is, because of the DH, and the games are higher scoring, so they last longer. So I find it really ironic that all this silly talk is kind of what it all really is.
Right.
And they need to call strikes. I mean, it's pretty easy to figure out, I think, if they would just and these replays, all right? You could be standing there. If you can't figure it out in 30 seconds, and if you don't know, and if you can't tell, you stand with the call on the field. That was all designed. They said they were going to do that originally, and, of course, they balked on it, and their people are sitting there for a 6-hour game.
I agree. The problem with trying to shorten a game is if it's an exciting game, who cares? You know what I mean? Right. If it's an exciting game, you're caught up in it anyway. If you're a fan, and even if you're a casual fan, and if you're scoring runs like crazy, who cares? I think what they're looking at is all the pitching changes, all the crap that goes on in between, and you kind of get that the game gets away, especially when you're talking about how many strikeouts there have been in Major League Baseball. Now, they declined those strikeouts last year after going to beginning to check pitchers for residue, whether it was pine tar or anything else that they had on their arms or caps or hats or belts or whatever. That got a little bit better. His scoring went up a little bit as well. So that became a little bit better. As long as there's action in the game, I don't think people care, because people will watch football for 3 hours and they don't care if it's exciting. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. And, I had a chance to go up to La Crosse where the Loggers put on the Hot Stove League, and Damian Miller and Craig Counsell were there. And they got talking generally with, they asked questions. Kapanke was running it, but they just mentioned that Counsell said, everybody's got guys that are throwing 95 to 100 miles an hour. And if you see guys in the lower part of the order hitting home runs, then they probably didn't, and that's what they talk about moving the mound back. So
right.
I agree with you about it being exciting, but people are losing interest in it.
Right. No, you just appreciate the phone call. As long as you can capture people's attention and their optimism, their excitement, their enthusiasm, as long as you can capture that, then we don't care. We will watch postseason football all day. We don't care. Two aspects drive it. One, it's exciting. And two, betting. Fantasy football, betting. We get into that. It drives the train for a lot. And baseball doesn't necessarily capture that same imagination. They have done a lot more things as of late. And when you get DraftKings and all that kind of stuff, then those different entities, sure, you get into that. But it's the excitement of the game. And what really, in my opinion, hurt baseball was a home run beats 3 singles, And so people didn't want to do that. They, players don't want to have 3 singles. They would rather have a home run and drive in 3 runs and go 1 for 3 with 2 strikeouts and a home run than they would with a base hit 1 for 3. So they yank it as hard as they can and hope for the best. And I think it just kind of hurt the game over a period of time. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. This one's from Melvin, who says, I hate to change the subject, but what about Bruce Arians retiring? Do you think that had anything to do with Tom Brady saying that there was a problem between the two? Okay, let me ask you this, Melvin. When did Brady say there was some rumors Okay, I get that, but I don't know anywhere that Tom Brady said that there was a problem between the two. There was some thoughts that, because otherwise, here's my question. Why would Brady come back? Just to force Arians out? That doesn't make sense. In the logical sense, it just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Why would he come back and want to play, and then Arians is out a month later? Unless they just had these irreconcilable differences and the organization just said, hey, look, we're going to move on. I can understand that, but you would have worked that out ahead of time, don't you think? I that would not make sense to me. That's all. It would kind of be backwards here. You know? 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Give us a shout. 877-867-1670. This one's from Anthony. And Anthony, we already answered your question, Anthony. Sorry about that. Give us another shout tomorrow, man. Teddy says, as a resident of Eau Claire, don't get a lot of the Brewers games, love listening to it on the radio, but I do come down for 3 to 5 games a year. If there were more games shown, I probably would be more likely to come, but they piss me off, and I only make it to 3 or 4 games a year now, 2 of which are donated tickets. Okay. Gotcha. And I don't know how to. We've talked about that already. I don't know how to get around that. And if I'm part of Bally's, I don't want to give my product away. My sponsors are paying us. So why would I want Hulu or Roku or YouTube or anybody else to insert their own commercials and make money off of the product that I'm putting together, I'm producing, I'm directing, I'm paying the talent for? Why would I want to do that? You know? And the Brewers aren't going to give you a deal because other entities are carrying it. It's money. And unfortunately, you and I get caught in the middle. Now, as one Brewers fan said, hey, I wanted to see the Brewers, so I bought the cable company and I get the package. He said, if you want it, you pay for it. If you don't, you're not going to get it. He also says, P.S. I don't understand MLB.com not carrying Brewers games. If you wanted to watch it on your computer, it should be produced by Bally's anyway. So I don't understand why Major League Baseball would not give that to you if you were paying for that service. That doesn't make sense. That I agree with 100%. By the way, Melvin says if it was Aaron Rodgers and the same situation happened, they would be saying that Aaron Rodgers forced the head coach out. That's true. That's true. It just happened in such a weird way, though, Melvin, because if Tom Brady wanted to come back, and at the end of the season, he said to management, look, Bruce and I just aren't getting along. It was great our first run together. I just don't like his style, whatever. If he's not gone, I'm going to retire. And maybe management didn't want to make that choice, you know? So Brady says, you know what? To hell with it, I'm retiring. And then management comes back and says, hey, look, we're going to work out a deal with Bruce. Just go ahead and unretire, come back. Maybe that happened. I'm not going to say no, because there have been rumors of Tom Brady and Bruce Arians kind of, butting heads a little bit. To what extent, I don't know. Remember, it was a former Patriot who has a radio program that first brought this up, that said that there was some issues between Bruce Arians and Tom Brady that nobody was talking about. And he, I can't remember the guy's name. Ben, do you remember this was like during the Super Bowl when we were out there that we heard that there was an issue. And everybody kind of dismissed it. It's like, it's a former player. Who's trying to make a name for himself. What does he know? And all of a sudden now Bruce Arians is out. He's moving to the front office. I don't know if it's Arians' choice or not. I couldn't tell you, but you're right. You're right, Merlin. If it was Aaron Rodgers, we'd all be saying it was either Aaron or the highway. You are completely correct. 877-867-1670. Let's go back to the phone calls. Talk to Court. Court, welcome to the program, man. What's going on?
Hey, Bill. How you doing today, buddy?
Doing well, pal. What's up?
I'm going to talk. I was listening to you earlier, and I wasn't able to call, but I wanted to kind of talk about the wide receiver situation.
Yeah.
If everybody remembers in 2010, I know it's a long time ago, but the year that we won it, what's the one receiver that wasn't on that team that was the year before that everybody was talking about and Aaron was so focused on, and that was Jermichael Finley.
Correct.
So sometimes I think maybe addition by subtraction can be a positive thing for the Devontae Adams thing. Now, when I say that, I'm not saying they're not going to go out and get another quality wide receiver, but how many times did we look down the field in the playoffs and see Aaron want to throw into that double coverage when someone else was wide open because he had that crutch in Devontae, and he had that years ago with Jermichael Finley, and when Finley went down, he opened up the field and he threw the ball to a lot more different receivers. So I'm not willing to, throw the team away because Devontae's gone. I think there's still a lot of great weapons on that team. If Tanya can come back, Aaron Jones is just an incredible weapon on that team, whether he's running the ball or catching the ball. And like I said, they're going to pick somebody up that's going to be worthwhile. And for all these people, these naysayers about the trade, wondering about, Tyreek Evans, well, as you said on your show, it finally came out that it was Devontae who forced all of this and basically said, you trade me to the Raiders or when I'm done, I'm walking. So they did the best they could with what they had, and it turned out to be a pretty good trade, I think, in the end.
Yeah, the only thing I can say, and I appreciate the phone call because we've got to run to a break, but the only thing I can say about that is remember, Jermichael went down, but you also had Jordy, Greg, James, Donald. You had a hell of a stable of wide receivers. I mean, a hell of a stable of wide receivers. You didn't even have Randall Cobb yet because he didn't come till the next year. So, yeah, he was focusing on Jermichael up until the injury. I get that. But remember, that was the same year was Nick Barnett went down because remember they weren't in the team picture and both of those guys threw a fit on social media. But that was, boy, that team was loaded. They were loaded at wide receiver. Big time. By the way, speaking of big time, if you're looking for a big time place to go, Albanese's, our friend Joey, they're up, they're running, they got bocce ball, they got leagues. You can sign up right now, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday nights, all open, all the way May through mid-August. You can check in for information. You can ask for Joey, give him a call, bocce ball out front. There's, when I drive past there a lot, and in the evenings, I'll see 50 people outside. They got beverages. They're sitting on the wall. They're tossing bocce ball around. They're listening to the Brewers game. You talk about it doesn't matter if you're Italian or not. Just a relaxing evening. It's nice. Then you go in, you get some good food, maybe a glass of wine. Man, you're good. I'm just getting myself ready for warm weather, man. Holy mackerel. Stay tuned. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. Another segment yet to go right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
So I get it. But I'm not a fan of the DH, not necessarily because of that, because it takes up a spot. It's an older player usually that doesn't play the field as much anymore. They still can hit, but they're just, when it comes to their overall athletic ability, they're past their prime, usually. So a guy like Big Papi, who just, he was just a body in the field. That's what he was. But you're right. It does allow you to see the longevity of a guy like Hank Aaron. I understand that. But also, you got to like a guy like, let's say, Tyrone Taylor. Say he gets edged out because you've got McCutchen sitting there with a DH. And McCutchen's not really playing the field that much anymore. But Tyrone Taylor, who appears at least ready to come up and has been knocking at the door for a while now, he still can't come up. And you'd get him most likely at a cheaper price. You know what I mean? And then it takes away the strategy. I do, and I know people don't like this. I do. I am a fan of a pitcher being somebody who can help themselves. If you're a pitcher and you stand at the plate and you can't drop down a bunt to move a runner over, say you're trailing by a run, And the ability to drop down a bunt could be the ability for you to get a win or a loss, or tie up a game and take a no decision versus a loss, and you can't lay down a bunt. Not a fan of that. Not a fan of that at all. Or you can't put the bat on the ball. Well, you're not a baseball player. You're strictly a pitcher. That's it. That doesn't sit real well with me. And I know some people are like, I don't want to see a guy bunt, but it goes back to the art and the romance and the capability of the game. Coming up tomorrow on the program, we got Rob Reichel. We're going to talk some Packers football with him. Is he in panic mode when it comes to the wide receiver position? It certainly seems like, and the rumors are starting to kind of surface. They're percolating now. Things are starting to bubble. Like, yeah, there are teams that are saying, other teams are reaching out regarding wide receivers. The Packers are indeed one of them. And it's not just one team. It's numerous teams that are starting to give the insiders, if you will, the rumblings that the Green Bay Packers, among others, are starting to look for wide receivers. And then we'll talk some more baseball tomorrow. Kevin Holden from CBS 58. Our baseball guy. He's going to be joining us. We'll talk with him a little bit about the Brewers, about the preseason, about spring training. Guys like Tyrod Taylor, guys like Keston Hiura that are really having the spring training you would hope they would have. Christian Yelich, not a bad spring training. So what are the legitimate hopes for Christian Yelich when he comes back up north this year as well, and the Brewers get it underway for real? And then we start to effort towards next Thursday when the baseball season opens up for real. And then 2 weeks from Thursday, 2 weeks from today, as a matter of fact, 2 weeks from today, when the Brewers come back home, and our opening day broadcast is live from Stenny's, Second and National Walker's Point. Looking forward to that. You know what? You don't get it very often. Mark says, "What about Brooks Kieschnick? That's a guy that could hit." Oh, he was a relief pitcher that just could crush a baseball. Used to love watching him hit. You're right. Love it. There you go. That's it. That'll do it for a Thursday edition of the Bill Michaels Show. Until we chat again.